Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Box Office Dynasty. We are your hosts. I'm Jack.
And I'm Josh.
And I'm just going to start off and say it real quick. I'm fucking sick again. So if you can't tell, if you hear me coughing or sneezing or making disgusting noises for like the 10th episode, I'm sick again. How are you doing, Josh?
Yeah, Jack, you're being put through the ringer right now, man.
I know, it's my allergies, and there was a sickness a couple weeks ago, and I'm sick again. I swear I'm not like a disgusting person who gets sick all the time. Like, I get sick like once a year, but this year it's been like 3 times already.
Yeah, once a year. Not disgusting.
Yeah.
Look, this is gonna be an interesting episode. I actually went to a retina doctor earlier today, so my eyes are dilated as fuck. So while you can barely talk, I can't see shit. So
it's like that thing with the three monkeys, and one is blind and one has his mouth covered and one has his ears covered. Like, we just need somebody who's deaf.
Hear monkey.
Actually, you're basically deaf, so.
Oh, okay. Well, I
can't. I mean, you're both of them.
So I'm 2 for 1. That's kind of fucked up. You need a second one.
Yeah, dude.
And I'm bald too, man. It's just like
your fault. That's 3 handicaps.
3 struggles right here.
I'm ginger. That's got to be something.
That just means you don't have a soul.
That's like the second worst thing. It's like right after being bald. It's hair related. It's like bald. No, it's
you have hair, but it's
receding hairline is the worst. Bald is the second worst. Ginger is the third worst, I think.
I would agree. I think it's better to be bald than, as someone who unfortunately has been in both sides of that balding coin, you'd rather be bald than receding hairline, because at least bald can be styled and look good. Like, receding hairline is just like, it's like the meme of the backpack that's like hung on by like a single thread, and it's like, just let it go, bro. Just let it go.
Nobody besides Walton Goggins can do the receding hairline look. Like, he's the only one who somehow pulls it off.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't really know how. He would look worse bald. He's like maybe the only man who would look worse bald. He definitely has a large noggin. Like, he is someone who it looks like he has a very big head.
Which
Jimmy
maybe it's
Neutron
not even
over there.
Yeah, maybe it's not even receding. Maybe he's just got a fat forehead.
maybe his head's getting bigger and his hair can't keep up with it. Like, maybe that's what's going on.
Every role he gets, his head, like Peyton Manning when he studies the football.
He's just balloony over there, and it's like his hair is like trying to hang on for dear life. It's like if you ever play Gang Beasts, it's like the blimp map on Gang Beasts where you're like hanging off the side of it, you know.
Good pull.
That's
we besides talking about bald people today, we have another great episode. It is our May the 4th. It's May 4th week. We're doing this on May 5th, but it's the 4th of May.
Revenge of the 5th.
Revenge of the 5th. It's coming out on Revenge of the 6th. If that's a thing.
Yeah, isn't it like fucked up that there's 2 that are both Revenge of the Sith related? I feel like there's got to be.
I feel like 5th needs to be something different, because 6th it sounds like Sith.
I mean, I see that point because it's 6 Sith, but I feel like 5th and Sith are closer than 6th and Sith.
I don't know.
Like, I know the first letter is both S-I, but
I have a lot to think about now. You've given me a lot to think about.
Well, we'll come back to this. We'll circle back.
We are going to do some movie reviews, some show reviews. Josh, you're going to talk some Devil Wears Prada 2. The Odyssey trailer came out, the full one, this morning, so we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about Maul, Shadow Lord. The whole season is over. Crazy, crazy show. We got a lot to talk about that. And then, in honor of the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy and the sequel trilogy, all the trilogies of Star Wars.
Well, maybe not the sequel trilogy.
Maybe not the sequel trilogy, and I finished Lord of the Rings. So the Lord of the Rings trilogy, we're going to be ranking our top 10 favorite trilogies of all time at the end of the episode. So make sure you stick around for that. I finally finished Lord of the Rings, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. Let's get into this fucking episode.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Oh my God. I'm like that guy from SpongeBob where it's like, I can't understand your accent.
Thank you. You're welcome.
I gotta just keep chugging this water.
Yeah, man. Down some water, overdose on some cough drops and settle on in for this week's episode of the Box Office Dynasty. Brought to you by Dayquil. So anyway,
pop some Dayquil before this.
All right. Well, why don't we do some news nuggets first? Obviously, always like to get some news nuggies into the beginning of the episode. I have a few. I always have a few, man. There's always something going on, and I'm a nerd, so I'm always going to bring something to the table.
Even on the slow weeks, there's always big news.
It's always something. We're going to start off. Obviously, the big movie the last few weeks was Michael. And so there is some more controversy surrounding this film than there already has been before and during its release. Nia Long, who played Michael Jackson's mother, Catherine, in the film, is fighting Lionsgate, the studio who released it, after claiming that a clause in her contract that guaranteed she wouldn't be paid less than her supporting co-stars was not honored. She was reportedly paid less than Coleman Domingo, who played Joe Jackson, despite the fact that she originally had a much larger role in the film's earlier drafts. So it's not her fault that her role got significantly reduced in later versions of the film. And now she is kind of going to war with Lionsgate over her unfair pay on the film, which could make the sequel, the sequel to Michael, even more controversial than it already is if she refuses to take part.
That's interesting because I think people are going to see that movie and not know the details and be like, well, she was barely in it. Of course she's getting paid less than Coleman Domingo. But if the contract was signed, I'm assuming before any cuts to the script were made, any cuts to the actual movie were made, you have the basic script, your basic role, and you sign a contract based on that. If there even is a script at first, that you will get the same amount of money, you get the same amount of money. That's how it works. You get paid the same amount of money regardless of what your screen time is. So I don't know how she doesn't win that. I mean, if she got paid less, if she signed a contract to not get paid less, then what do we do about that?
I completely. What do? We don't do anything about it. We're not involved in this.
We need to donate to her, I guess. I
All right, everyone use our code on W Energy so the money can go towards Nia Long's contractual dispute. No, I completely agree that, like, obviously at first glance you would say, well, she has way less screen time, a smaller reduced role than Coleman Domingo. Why would she get the same pay? I would agree, except for the fact that her role was much larger beforehand, and despite that, even she had it in her contract, a clause that said she would get an equal pay to her supporting co-stars. So that, it does seem a little ridiculous that they not only greatly reduced her role and cut a lot of it out of the film, they are now not honoring that clause. So you're right. She should come out on top and win that, but depending on how disastrous of a legal battle this can be, I wonder if she's going to be willing to be in the sequel, which already we know there's just this film,
some issues.
Even though there are people who really liked it, there's actually a lot of people who really liked it. You're included. I didn't hate it, but I certainly had my issues with it. All the opinions aside, there's clearly a lot of controversy that continues to roll out with Michael.
Yeah, and she's fighting against a big studio, so even though she's like in the right based on what we know, that's going to be a rough battle.
I mean, it reminds me of like when Scarlett Johansson went to battle with Marvel and Disney over the Black Widow box office fallout, and she won. But with all due respect to Nia Long, Scarlett Johansson is much bigger and the most profitable, successful actor in the world right now, as far as I know. So not that should matter, of course not, but you never know. So
yeah.
My second of, I believe, four news nuggets revolves around the next Top Gun installment that we learned is happening, Top Gun 3. However, Joseph Kosinski, the director of Top Gun Maverick, is reportedly not returning to direct the third film, as he instead prepares to direct the new Miami Vice remake with Michael B. Jordan and Austin Butler. So a short list of potential replacements was released and includes the following three, and I have to admit I am not feeling good about any of these choices. So I'm just going to put that out there. The first one is John M. Chu, known for directing Wicked and Wicked for Good. He also did Crazy Rich Asians, which is a really good movie. Not sure how this would work for Top Gun 3, but of course, at least Wicked, he has blockbuster experience. So maybe.
Okay.
Joaquin Ronning, who directed Tron Ares, that was a colossal failure. So even though it's another action film, I don't feel great about it. I don't know anything else that he's done either. And then Adil El Arbi and Bilal Falal, who did Miss Marvel and the film Bad Boys Ride or Die. So they have some franchises under their belt, but again, big shoes to fill with Top Gun 3. Not sure that would be my first choice either.
You know, that Bad Boys movie was actually a really fun action movie. Like, I had a really good time watching that.
I've never seen
Um,
any of the Bad Boys movies, so
I've
I
only
mean,
seen one, and it was that one, and I actually really liked it. Uh, but yeah, those aren't great options. But it actually does make me more excited for that Miami Vice movie, or what is it? Yeah, it's a movie, right?
Miami Vice movie. Yep.
Because the guy, you know, the Top Gun Maverick guy with Michael B. Jordan and Austin Butler, that actually sounds pretty awesome.
And I'm
Um,
still like holding out hope that Tom Cruise will play the. I mean, a lot of people online agree that we would love to see Tom Cruise play the villain in that movie.
oh yeah, that we talked about that before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be an insanely cool movie. I'm telling you
Krasinski's
now,
got to
it
call
would
in a
be
favor from Cruise.
insanely cool. He does. I mean, and we've seen Cruise do the villain role before, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, I
So,
haven't. Yeah.
we'll see how this all shakes out. I trust Tom Cruise to find a filmmaker for Top Gun 3 that will do a good job. I personally wonder if Christopher McQuarrie, who he's collaborated with a ton in Mission Impossible, could be an option.
I thought you were gonna actually throw that name out there before you said you don't have any faith. So I was kind of hoping you'd say that though.
No, I would have a ton of faith in. I
Yeah.
mean, obviously, I'm like torn about that because on one hand, it would be cool to see Cruise collaborate with a new filmmaker. He's done so much with McQuarrie already. But on the other
Yeah.
hand, we know that they work very well together
Yes, we
in
can
this
trust the process.
in this sphere. Yeah, so we can have faith that it would be a great film. So we'll see who takes on Top Gun 3, but it looks like Kaczynski will not be returning. All right, my third of four news nuggets. Greta Gerwig's Narnia, The Magician's Nephew, has been delayed to February 12th, 2027. However, this will be Netflix's first ever global widespread theatrical release, including IMAX screens. It will get around about 2 months of a run in theaters before it releases on Netflix on April 2nd of 2027.
I actually don't like that because I think that this movie is going to be a box office flop. And
Really?
yes, I don't think anyone gives a fuck about Narnia anymore. It's been too long. Nobody cares. And I think this is going to fail box office wise, and Netflix is going to use that as a reason to not release things in theaters.
That's interesting. I'll be honest, I'll level with you. I do agree. I'm not a big Narnia guy. I never really was growing up anyway.
I used to I used to dabble, you know?
It's not bad. It was okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think you're talking about Greta Gerwig, who, I mean, raked in $1 billion on her last movie in Barbie, and she's taking on another franchise, that is well known. I don't know. I mean, I think, is it going to make $1 billion like Barbie? No, but
No.
I don't know if it'll be a box office flop. I do think between Gerwig's name attached and the Narnia franchise in general and Netflix giving in to a widespread theatrical release, I think it will generate enough interest that people will go out to the box office, especially if there isn't. I mean, it's too early for me to know if there's going to be competition that weekend. Like, if
Yeah.
it is the big release of the weekend, people are going to go see it.
I hope so. Do we know if this, I mean, I don't know if we know anything story-wise. Like, do I have to watch all the Narnia movies before I see this? Because then I think that's going to deter people.
I don't think so. I think it's its own
Okay, good.
thing.
All right, good. Because I never heard of the Magician's, what the fuck you said, Magician's Assistant or some shit?
Nephew. It's
Oh,
the magician's nephew.
Okay.
It's a family affair, Jack.
Yeah, it must be. Okay.
So we'll see. But Greta Gerwig is the filmmaker to finally get Netflix to do a widespread release in theaters. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
And the last of my news nuggets is the one I'm most excited about. I know you kind of heard a little bit about it, and that is the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences has announced new and massive rule changes that will take effect starting with the 99th Academy Awards next year. There are 3 main rule changes that they announced, so we're going to go through them. The first one is that AI is banned from ever winning an Oscar. So remember, what was that, like Nori Tillman or something, that like
Yeah, we had a
AI
whole
actress?
debate of whether she could win an Oscar or not.
Yeah, she cannot win an Oscar. Sorry, Nori, or whatever your name is.
But what are the parameters of AI winning an Oscar? Like Adrian Brody won an Oscar based off a performance that wasn't AI, but it was AI enhanced.
Well, the brutalist performance that, Adrian Brody won for, AI enhanced it again, and this is a very fair question for you to ask. It's kind of like, I mean, they only used it in post-production to shore up a couple of like lines of dialogue that were in Hungarian.
Yeah.
So you're right. I mean, where is that parameter? They say it's only roles that are, quote, demonstrably performed by humans with their consent. So I take that as Adrian Brody, what he does counts because it is a role that is, quote, demonstrably performed by a human that he consented to. It is not an AI generated performance. So even if it's used as a tool for like tweaks, I think it's like it has to be a real like, for example, the Val Kilmer AI role that we talked about last month.
That's not winning shit.
Even if that he consented or the estate consented, like that is not a human performed role. So I can't see that would count. But Brody is an actual person who actually performed in the film The Brutalist. So in
that
my
should just
opinion,
be like doing steroids. like enhancing it even just a tiny little bit is like taking a little shot,
Is Adrian Brody the Barry Bonds of Oscars then? Because he's won 2 Oscars.
Maybe he's like the A-Rod.
The A-Rod?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, he's the A-Rod. Let's not get too carried away. He's still really good. I mean, you see the pianist, you see the brutalist, he's great. But but is he the Bonds? Really? Bonds. I don't know about all that. That's and also only human authored screenplays are eligible for nominations. So the Academy reserves the right to do their research to see if AI was used to generate screenplays, and they will be disqualified. So only human authored ones. So that's the first major rule change. No AI. Second, eligible actors can now be nominated for multiple performances in the same category if those performances get enough votes to land in the top 5. So previously, let's say, a great example is Sebastian Stan a couple years ago when he was the lead in both A Different Man and The Apprentice.
Yeah.
He was only eligible to be nominated for one of those films in the lead acting category at the Oscars. Now, that's not to say if he didn't have a supporting performance the same year, he also could have been nominated there. But he wasn't allowed to be nominated for 2 leads. Now, as long as the votes are there, you can be nominated for fucking all 5 spots in a category.
When I read this, I was hoping, like, I think this is great, but I have some reservations. Like, I just don't want it to become the Academy playing favorites, like if Timothy Chalamet...
They already play favorites.
I know, but if Timothy Chalamet gets nominated for 2 when there's like another option that's like, oh, he should have been nominated for Best Actor. When there's 2 Timothy Chalamets, I think people are just going to start to get pissed when there's repeats, when there's probably a better option out there.
I think that's totally fair. I do. But I also don't even, like, as much as I agree with this rule change, I don't even, and I also understand and agree with your concern, I don't think it's really going to play much of an effect because I don't think you're really going to see it happen.
I don't think so. Maybe once or twice in the next couple, the next decade, maybe, I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, I'm sure at some point it will happen, but, and even people this year are already saying, well, Anne Hathaway, Robert Pattinson, Zendaya, they all have multiple movies coming out. They're not going to get nominated for most of the films that they have coming out this year. No. And whether or not they deserve to is obviously a different question, but they're not going to be. So, I don't think we're going to see it have much of an impact. Like, I think that's going to be a real rarity. In fact, the only actor this year that I think you can even see that possibly happen for is Sandra Hüller. Like, that is...
Who's that?
She was
from Project Hail Mary?
In Project Hail Mary, but she has a few other projects that are like Oscar contenders lined up later this year. So it is entirely like, if there's anyone this year besides like Hathaway, Pattinson, Zendaya, like she might, and it probably will happen at some point for someone, but I just don't think you're going to see it happen often.
Yeah, that would be kind of crazy. But we had a tie this year, so crazy shit happens.
Yeah, that's true. Ties are very rare.
Very rarely happens.
Very rarely happens. But, there's a first for everything, right?
Yeah.
The third and final major rule change from the Academy has to do with Best International Feature, which is now awarded to the filmmaker themselves and not the country of submission. So basically, how this category used to work is each country could submit one film. Well, you could submit more than one, but only one film for each country could be nominated. And the winner of this category, so what just won? It was Sentimental Value, which was Norway's submission. It was a Norwegian won Oscar, not a Joachim Trier won Oscar, even if he accepted on the behalf of Norway's, I guess, film committee or whoever handles the submissions overseas. Now that is no longer the case. So while international films can still be the official selection of their countries, that can be Norway's selection, now they can qualify not just by being a submission of a country, they can qualify by winning the top prize at major international festivals, like the Palme d'Or at Cannes we saw with, Anora a couple years ago, the Golden Lion at Venice, or the World Cinema Grand Jury Prize at Sundance. Those are the three major film festivals. Historically, like I said, countries owned the nomination. These new rules allow multiple films from the same country to compete if they are both critically acclaimed, and it shifts the honor from a geopolitical entity to the filmmakers themselves, which is how it should be.
That's good. So 3 rules for the Oscars, and they're not shit. They're actually
I think
all
they're all
good.
great. They're all great changes that
cool.
make a lot of sense and are fair. So
that's good. We love that.
We will see all these rules come into play this Oscar season. And honestly, speaking of film festivals, the Cannes Festival is coming up soon. We talked a little bit about it last year. We'll talk a little bit about it after it happens, later this year. And that's kind of the starting point. I don't know if you remember, obviously Sentimental Value won Best International Feature, and it got a bunch of Oscar nominations. And if you don't remember, I was talking about that film on this podcast, and anyone at home can go back and listen, back in June or whenever it was, because it came up and it won the second place prize at the Cannes Film Festival. And
we have it. We have it documented.
We do have it documented. I am not a liar, hand to God, hand to Anne Hathaway. So go back and check it. You'll see. That's my point, being that it may seem silly to be talking about award season now because it's so long away, but this is where it starts. And the films that do compete, this is where it starts. So we'll keep our eyes out on that since it comes up. But these Oscar rules, I think they're all great.
That's pretty dope.
Alrighty. So those are the news nuggets. You don't have anything yourself today, right?
Nope. I had a couple Oscars things, but that was it.
Yeah, I snagged them from you.
That's all right. That's good. I didn't even have them written down. So
absolute steal. You're like, yeah, there's some with the Oscars, but I'm not
sure being unprofessional today.
You're like, I'm being unprofessional.
Dude, I'm also sweating out my ass right now.
Don't you have an AC?
Yeah, it's my fan is on. I don't want to open my windows though. It's just too hot. My AC's off.
Well, then you're causing your own sweating, man.
I know. Whatever. It's all right.
Why don't we go over some box office numbers? Before we get into the top 5 box office numbers, I had one. Every now and then I have a stinker I want to mention. I think it's been since Christie, the Sydney Sweeney film from November.
Yeah. It's the worst bombs.
So sometimes those pop up and they're worth mentioning in this segment as well. And I do have one to mention. I don't know if you heard of it. Desert Warrior, a new film starring Anthony Mackie, is tracking to be one of the biggest box office flops of all time. It is a Saudi Arabian funded film that has earned $488,000 in the box office so far. It had a budget of $150 million. 1,002 million. The film opened in approximately 1,000 theaters, which means that it averaged a mere $483 per theater. That is it. Per theater, it made $483. That's honestly more than I thought it could make. mainly due to poor reviews, film delays, and low audience interest. I don't even know what the fuck this movie's about. I don't know why Mackie is in this movie.
I saw Anthony Mackie post about it like a couple months ago, and he's like, "I'm so proud of this. Can't wait to show this to you guys in a couple months." And everyone's like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, not a single person was like, "I'm excited." They were all like, "What the hell are you talking about?" They're like, "This movie comes out in 2 weeks, and we've never heard of it."
I don't even know what it's about. I mean,
it's about a guy who's a warrior and he lives in the desert or something. I don't know. Anthony Mackie's a warrior.
Good fucking description, man.
Yeah, man. There's a desert.
It says
he's at war.
It says, oh my God, Ben Kingsley's in this movie too. How much of the $150 million budget do you think went to Anthony Mackie and Ben Kingsley?
I would say probably 75 million.
Probably most of it. In 7th century Arabia, Princess Hind defies her fate, refusing to become a concubine to the ruthless Emperor Kisra. Fleeing into the desert with her father, she is hunted by a merciless army and forced to trust a legendary bandit with secrets of his own. Rising from fugitive to fearless warrior, Hind unites warring tribes for a final stand. The Battle of Dekar, a clash that will change history forever. Can I tell you something? It's probably still better than The Shooting Party.
Probably.
Like, it probably is still better than The
It has a
Party.
28% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's got 2.3 average on Letterboxd.
Jeez.
Well,
actually, that's actually not terrible. 2.3 from what I thought it was going to have.
I mean, I don't think you want a 2.3.
No, I'm not going to watch it.
I guess there are things on there with like a 1 point, like War of the Worlds was like 1.0. So
yeah, which should have been lower because nobody even rated it. Like it didn't. It should have gone below half a point because everyone was giving it half, or it should have gone below one.
Well, 1 point.
Half.
Yeah, I agree. So anyway, sorry, Anthony Mackie. I know you were excited to show us, but nobody was excited to see it. I guess.
Yeah, he's got Doomsday coming out. He's fine.
He's fine. He's all right. He'll be okay.
Yeah.
$483 per theater. Jesus Christ.
I
Okay.
mean, that's crazy.
Now let's get into the films that made more than $483 per theater. These are the top 5 box office numbers from May 1st through the 3rd. We are now in May. Summer's on the horizon, folks. In 5th place and its opening weekend of release, making just under $6.5 million, is the new neon horror Hokum, starring Adam Scott, which came out this past week. I haven't seen it yet. I really am looking forward to this one. I love horror. I love Adam Scott, and I heard it was actually very terrifying. So nearly $6.5 million, I think, is a pretty big success for this movie. An indie horror film.
Crack top 5.
Crack top 5. Hey, it did better than that new Animal Farm film. I'll tell you that much.
That new Anthony Mackie film too.
It did better than Desert Warrior. So, in 4th place in its 7th weekend of release, making another $8.5 million, is Project Hail Mary, still hanging on, 2 months on, over 2 months on, in the top 5. It is at now nearly $638.5 million worldwide. What a great success. We have talked to death about this one. We have talked to Desert Warrior about this one. In 3rd place, in its 5th weekend of release, with another $12 million, is the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Super Mario Galaxy movie still hanging on. It is now at $897.2 million worldwide. Can it hit $1 billion? We will see.
Down.
It has a couple more weeks before I will completely say it is dead. Mandalorian and Grogu is the deadline. If it cannot cross $1 billion by then, it will not cross $1 billion.
Yeah, I agree.
In 2nd place, in its 2nd weekend of release, making $54.4 million, almost none of which I guess is going to Nia Long, is Michael. Michael hanging on very strong. It is currently at $430 million worldwide, which now makes it the 2nd highest grossing musical biopic of all time. So a very successful film. Even in its 2nd weekend, it only had a 44% drop from 1st to 2nd weekend. And the really interesting number is that it only had a 21% drop between weekends internationally. So people overseas are still very interested in Michael. That is a huge sign of strength. And that is without it even opening in Japan yet, where obviously Michael Jackson was a huge figure as well.
Yeah, that's huge.
So Michael is maintaining a very, very strong presence in the box office right now. 44% drop. $430 million worldwide. Matt last week had the prediction that it'll make $1 billion. I don't know if it will, but it is in a good spot at the moment.
Yeah, that is a gamble. So, I mean, he's not completely out of it yet.
It's not going, Matt, you're not out of it yet, but I got to be honest with you, buddy. I'm still going to say it's not going to make $1 billion. If Mario can't make $1 billion, I'm not sure how Michael can, but I could be wrong. I guess we'll see. And in first place, in its opening weekend of release, the big release of the weekend is The Devil Wears Prada 2, which made $76.7 million domestically. And a little information about this one, it has earned a whopping $233.6 million worldwide. That makes it the second biggest opening of 2026 so far, and the biggest live action opening of the year, surpassing Michael, which opened to $218 million worldwide. The only film with a larger opening this year so far is Super Mario Galaxy, which opened at $372.5 million. And in fourth place was Project Hail Mary, $141 million. It made $32.5 million on its opening day alone, which surpassed the first film's entire opening weekend. And lastly, this is the largest opening weekend of Meryl Streep's entire career, which is obviously a very long, illustrious career.
Yeah, that's actually insane.
So, and the first film grossed $326.5 million worldwide. So the sequel will very likely blow past that by the end of weekend number 2, as it's already made over 70% of that box office. So what a success The Devil Wears Prada 2 has been.
Yeah, I didn't know there were fans like that. I knew people liked the first one, but I didn't know it was like...
I liked the first one. I did not think this film would have a bigger opening than Michael.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So we're talking about $1 billion movies. I'm not saying The Devil Wears Prada 2 is going to make $1 billion.
Hey, put it on Billy Watch.
It'll probably have a steeper drop off than Michael, because I don't know that it's going to be as strong overseas. But I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, this is already going to blow past Devil Wears Prada 1.
Yeah, it's almost there. It's basically
almost there. It'll very, very likely be there after 2 weeks.
There's still no $1 billion movies this year, right?
No, there are no $1 billion 2026 films.
That's great. They're just so close. There's so many movies that is like, what's going to be
Mario is like knocking on the door.
Mario's there.
Michael maybe
in a couple weeks.
Michael maybe now. I guess we'll keep our eye out on The Devil Wears Prada 2.
Project Hail Mary's out, unfortunately.
Project Hail Mary is not going to make $1 billion, but they should be very happy with what they've made. So, and again, I mean, there are films coming out this month, and they'll, hopefully be good, but none of them are box office threats to any of these top hitters until Mandalorian and Grogu, which should do very well. But even with that said, the bad word of mouth or the bad vibes people feel about Mandalorian and Grogu generally might hurt its box office. In fact, Jack, their early tracking suggests it's going to be one of the worst box office returns in Star Wars history.
Damn. And that's like, part of it is probably at the fault of Mando season 3 not being great, but also the last Star Wars movie we got was, what was it, Rise of Skywalker, right?
In 2019, yeah.
And that movie was arguably the worst Star Wars content we've ever gotten. So it's like when Solo did poorly because it came out right after Last Jedi. It's like Solo, maybe not a great movie, but did it deserve to be horribly make no money? And I don't know.
I think you're right. I think that between the way Mandalorian season 3 was handled, between the fact that we haven't even had a Star Wars film in several years, and the last one was poor. Actually, the last 2 really were poorly received.
Yeah.
Well, wait, did Last Jedi come out after Rogue One? Maybe I'm being wrong, because obviously everyone loves
it. Was Last Jedi was after Rogue One, but Solo was after Last Jedi.
But that wasn't really well received either. So the last few Star Wars films haven't been well received. It's not like a new mainline film. And the trailers don't look generally that great, right? Yeah. They look kind of mediocre or fine at best, I guess. So, I think all these factors combined, people just aren't as excited about it as as they might be for a different kind of Star Wars movie. Like, I think Starfighter next year, we're going to have a much different conversation about.
And it's got that Ryan Gosling pull.
Of course, which look
You
at
know?
Project Hail Mary. So,
Yeah.
Mandalorian and Grogu will be or should be a big contender in the box office when it comes out. But, it might not have a bigger opening than Devil Wears Prada 2. Like, I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. So anyway, those are your box office numbers for the weekend of May 1st through the 3rd. And speaking of Devil Wears Prada 2, it is time for me to give my rating and review of the film. I know you haven't seen it. I don't think you've even seen the first one.
Nope.
Do you want me to tread around spoilers or not? Not that it matters as much for this film. But...
Say what you want to say.
Okay, good song. All right, so spoilers ahead for The Devil Wears Prada 2. Spoilers ahead. I am going to give my rating and review. I give The Devil Wears Prada 2 like 8.3 product placements out of 10. And there was a lot of product placement, but it actually really works for this movie, so I'll explain. This movie, it's a wonderful sequel. It captures the spirit of the original film very well. The original Devil Wears Prada came out 20 years ago, and basically what that film is about, if you or anyone else doesn't know, is Anne Hathaway plays like this young up-and-coming journalist named Andy Sachs, who is trying to get like a consistent job in in journalism, and she gets a job as the one of the assistants to a top kind of fashion magazine editor in Miranda Priestley, who is this like notoriously massive bitch.
Is that Meryl Streep?
That's Meryl Streep, yes. Okay. And she uses that as like trying to get like leverage into eventually getting a better job. And so the first film is basically about her kind of trying to adapt to this new world of fashion, trying to find her own self-identity in that, trying to learn to appease her boss, Miranda, who
Meryl Streep is the devil?
Yes, Meryl Streep.
Sense?
Meryl Streep in this sense would be the devil, absolutely. Okay. And it also stars Emily Blunt, who is the other assistant in that movie, and it stars Stanley Tucci as Nigel, one of my favorite characters. I love him. Like, if you watch these movies, you would love he would be your favorite character, I think. Like,
did you know that he is married to Emily Blunt's sister?
Really?
Yeah, that's her brother-in-law, Emily Blunt's brother-in-law. Is that crazy?
I did not know that.
He gave a speech at her when she got her star.
They both got stars the same time.
Oh no, well he's married to whatever her name is, Blunt. Like her last name is Blunt.
He's like, I'm just looking at it now. He's 23 years older than Emily Blunt, though. So how old is Emily Blunt's sister?
Stanley Tucci wife, Felicity Blunt.
How old is she?
She is. How old's Emily Blunt? She's 45. Blunt?
Oh, okay. So there's
21 years younger than. Oh, all right.
I mean, it's Hollywood.
Yeah,
look at Aaron Taylor Johnson and his wife.
I don't want to look. Actually, let's not look at them.
Probably not. He was definitely groomed. But anyway, we're getting off topic here. So that's what the first film's about. And then this second film is 20 years later. It's present day. Andy Sachs has moved on to a big journalism job. And she gets fired. Her whole team gets fired because the newspaper gets bought out by a larger company. So she kind of has to go back to Runway magazine, which is the name of the magazine that Miranda Priestley runs. And basically, like, she's dealing with her own kind of PR issues, and that's why they hire Andy Sachs to kind of fix their image. And the whole film is basically about the death of print media as we embark on this age of, this digital age involving AI and corporate consolidation and things
relevant.
Yeah. So I thought that they didn't just make a sequel with nothing to say. I do think it was interesting to see these characters who felt very fresh and familiar, just as they did 20 years ago. to see them kind of in this modernized world and how the changing landscape of print media and media in general is affecting their careers and their personal lives. So I thought it was a really kind of interesting stepping stone to, again, the story, connecting it from 20 years ago to now. The first act is a little clunky. It's trying to like find a way to get all our characters in the same room again
Yeah.
thing, give them a reason. But once it sets the premise up, like the rest of the film works well. It's really a feel good movie. You have a lot of fun with it. And that's why I say like, oh, the product placement, it works because they even make a point of it in the film. Because Runway Magazine is at risk. The owner of the CEO, the owner of Runway Magazine dies and his son takes over. And basically now they're at risk of the same thing happening to Andy Sack's old job, where they are going to be kind of shut down. Their jobs are going to be consolidated. People don't really read print anymore. They don't read magazines anymore. And so, the film makes a point like our advertising, like our advertisers are what keep the lights on, and they make that point. And so, yeah, this film, you see a lot of that. You see like Dior and Prada and Gucci and all these big fashion brands, and there's a lot of cameos of people in the fashion world even who make appearances in this film. And then of course, Lady Gaga's there too because she wrote a song for the movie and she's in it a little bit.
She's known for wearing weird shit, so
Yeah, one time she like wore a meat dress, I remember.
that's exactly what I'm thinking of when I say weird
Yeah,
shit.
she wore a meat dress. I also remember one time she went to a Mets game like basically naked.
Mr. Met might have liked that. That bald
Yeah.
fuck might have liked that.
Mr. Met was like, Mrs. Met went to the store to get groceries, so I have a few minutes.
I'm not going to have many comments about this because I genuinely, it's kind of rare with social media and stuff nowadays when I don't see a movie, but I still know nothing about it or the movie that came out 20 years ago. So I really don't know anything about these movies, but I'm still surprised that you like it as much as you did because the only thing I do know is that everyone was like, from the trailers and everything, they're like, it has the Netflix lighting. It looks like shit. It looks gray. It looks boring. It looks dull. Like they sucked the life out of it only from the brief trailers. So apparently that's not true.
No, I mean, it's not true. There is the old Netflix lighting where there's no more shadows. Nothing is, backlit. Everything looks like, again, everything looks like the sun is coming from multiple angles. Like there is issues like that. That is just not solely a Devil Wears Prada 2 problem.
I'm listening. I'm just gonna turn while I tissue up over here.
Brother's tissuing up, guys. Just letting you know. I'm gonna be quiet. Everyone listen as Jack blows his nose.
No, I'm gonna blow. I'm just wiping so you don't hear it.
Oh, okay. Well, you might need to blow if the snot is starting to run down a little bit. Get a little
No, bag secured. Bag secured.
We're
good.
Bat secured, man. Because you had some bats up in the cave. Anyway, yeah, I that is something that I didn't love about it. I think if you watch the first film and then you watch this, there is that sense of technical character that is kind of sucked out a little bit for sure. I do prefer the first film over the second one a bit, but they both were in the 8 out of 10 range. Where this, I think, if I'm being specific, like this is 8.3, that one's probably like 8.7 or something. So that is part of it. That would probably lower it a little bit. Okay. But again, they just, despite that issue, which again is not a solely Devil Wears Prada 2 issue, we see that even Barbie kind of looks like that, right? There are certain scenes in Barbie even where it's like a car commercial, or we're talking about Mandalorian and Grogu before. That kind of looks a lot like it too.
Definitely.
Compared to even Star Wars movie, like even look at The Last Jedi. If people didn't like it, The Last Jedi looks a lot better than what Mandalorian and Grogu seems to look like. So
beautiful looking movie.
Not that that's not an issue, but they do good enough of a job at capturing the spirit of the first film and making these characters feel so lived in. Like, I do think it's not like we're playing, it's not necessarily playing catch up. Like, we do feel like these characters have lived 20 years. We come back and visit them and time has passed and they just, again, they feel lived in. And so I do think there is an authenticity to that makes up for maybe some of the visual missteps now that we're getting. Not that it looks terrible. It doesn't look terrible, but it does have that kind of Netflix lighting issue that you describe.
Yeah, if you could look past it because there's other upsides, and yeah, that's good. That's is what you want from if a movie doesn't look great, then it's at least it's got other stuff that kind of makes up for it.
Yeah, and it's not like this is the kind of movie that you're going in to watch for its visuals. Now that's
Yeah,
not to say like Devil Wears Prada 2 is not getting a best cinematography nomination at the
no, best
Oscars. You know
special
what
effects maybe.
I mean?
The CGI is probably insane in that movie.
Yeah, look, I don't know. I mean, that's not to say though that movies that aren't supposed to be visual spectacles still shouldn't make that effort. Because again, you look at the original Devil Wears Prada. I've seen online like some snapshot comparisons. I don't know if you have
I've
of
seen
like
those.
scenes that are supposed to be like callbacks or similar. You know,
Like overview of when I look at the city and stuff.
at the
like
very
that.
beginning with the title card, you see the city and then you see the bottom one. For sure. For sure, you know, it's, I mean, you prefer that top one to that bottom one. You prefer the first to the second one, I would say. But they do enough good stuff in this film to make up for it. I enjoyed a lot of the interactions between the characters. I enjoyed, again, Nigel's one of my favorites. And in the first movie, like he's like the creative art director at Runway Magazine. And seeing him interact with Andy Sachs again, because in the first movie she's like our age, she's like younger even, and in that movie you know, she's obviously lost in this big world of fashion, and he's like reluctantly kind of helps her find her way. So just seeing her now as an adult, seeing an older Nigel kind of like, you know, return to, you know, what that bond that they built in the first film, it does feel really good as a fan of the first movie to see that again. And even Miranda Priestley, like there were some complaints I saw where people were like, because she is really nasty in the first movie, like she is really like, you know, and so I think that people maybe have, you know, issues with it now where she's like maybe a little less so, you know, she's
It's been 20 years.
It's been 20 years. She's, you know, Meryl Streep in real life is in her upper 70s, so the character's like 76 or something like that. It's natural to assume that characters change, right?
Yeah.
And she's still, I mean, she doesn't even remember, quote unquote, remember who Andy Sachs is at first. You know what I mean? When she first sees her.
So she sounds like a bitch at first.
She still is, right? So I don't think it's like as severe as people make it out to be by any stretch of the means. I do think that, you know, a lot of the stuff that she puts up with in the sequel, it has to do with, again, the whole consolidation issue and her trying to appease the people above her so that, you know, she's gunning for a promotion. So she's trying to get that. She's doesn't want Runway to get shut down. So she's got a lot she's juggling, which is why we see a little bit of a different side of her. But that's not to say she doesn't lose that, you know, no pun intended, that devilish approach of that character that we see. And even then, I haven't even really talked about Emily Blunt's character, who's Emily Charlton. She is one of the other assistants in the first movie. Now she's the head of, I think of Dior. I forget which company she was the head of, but she is like running one of the fashion brands now. And so she like represents the advertiser. So she's kind of put at odds with Andy and Miranda, whereas they were in the same company in the first film. Now they're kind of at odds with one another. So just seeing those interactions is really interesting. It's funny. So you're doing, with that context, I want to mention this real quick. You're doing your poster series on our TikTok right now, where you did the MCU posters. Now you're doing the Star Wars posters. I don't know if you've seen the Devil Wears Prada 2 poster on Letterboxd. I'm sure you did.
With the
passing.
heels?
No, not the heel one. The one where it's the four of them on the staircase.
No,
this
I
one,
didn't see that one.
You'll like barely be able to see it, but
okay, I don't think I saw that one.
well, if you look at it, what's interesting about it, why I think this is actually a really cool poster, is so you have your four. Yeah, I'll let you pull it up real quick.
I got it right here.
Jack's just doing his snot again, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah.
What's cool about it is, okay, is they all kind of like, I mean, first you got Stanley Tucci, who's just like fucking like,
he's ore farming.
He's just ore farming right there. Like that's just what he's doing, man. But the other three, I think there's such an interesting, deliberate approach to their blocking on this poster. You have Anne Hathaway on the left, and she is in white. She represents a good character. You have Emily Blunt on the right in black. She is kind of the quote unquote antagonist. Not the, I mean, she's not your proper, just true, like, evil antagonist. I mean, but she represents this, like, kind of corporate advertising dollar antagonist in the film. And then you have Meryl Streep in the middle as Miranda Priestley in red as the devil, kind of like pulling the strings still. And so I just think it's like, speaking of posters, like, I think when you consider the context of the film's plot and what the thematic messages that the film is getting across, I love this poster because it's kind of putting it really right in your face of like good, bad, the devil in the middle. There's kind of this like nuanced approach to that. So I think it's a good poster. I just thought you'd find that interesting since you're doing your poster series right now.
I just like that it's not the floating head posters.
It is not a floating head. They have bodies in this one.
Yeah, I think it's good. It also, like, every poster that I'm coming across is like every possible character shoved into one poster. I like that it's the 4 main characters and that's it. Because I'm sure there's other characters that are a little bit significant, but shoving everybody into a poster just pisses me off.
I completely agree, but these are the stars of the movie. So
exactly.
And there are, like you said, there are other characters in this. Kenneth Branagh is in this one. He wasn't in the first. Justin Theroux is in this one. He wasn't in the first. There's a love interest that they introduced for Andy Sachs. This was the one plot I didn't like in the movie. There's a love interest that they have for her that is so unnecessary. It doesn't do anything for the plot. He's just there, and I don't like it. It feels just, again, it's a waste of time. It's just to give her another thing to worry about, basically.
Does he crack?
Does he crack? Oh, like, Anne?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He does.
Oh, then that's all they need. That's the purpose.
But we don't see it, man. It's not like we are privy to it. We see like the beginning cliche where they're making out and they kick the door closed behind them, and then so
yeah, that's classic.
We're not getting like the full on fucking sex scene of Andy Sachs in The Devil Wears Prada too.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, I don't have too much else to say. I just wanted to, highlight some of what it's about. I think it does succeed in making these characters and this world relevant in our modern day world today.
Yeah.
Because truthfully, a lot has obviously changed in the landscape of media from 2006 to 2026. So I appreciated the approach they took. It wasn't, they could have botched this. They could have done something that made no sense or was just a waste of time or didn't work for the characters. And it does. It's a feel-good movie. It's a comfort classic. I don't think it'd be your favorite movies of all time, but I think you would enjoy it, the vibes of this movie if you watched it.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, maybe I'll give it a watch eventually.
Like I said, I don't think you're going to sit there and be like, man, I love The Devil Wears Prada.
My favorite movie of all time.
I just think you'd be like, yeah, this is a feel-good movie. Like, I like watching these characters and I like watching these actors and it's fun. It's fun.
My brother likes it, so I can, if he, we kind of have similar tastes. So, I think he gave the movie like a 3.5 on Letterboxd. You gave it a 4, so
yeah, I can understand the 3.5.
No, I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's because I from what I saw, I didn't have high expectations for other people to enjoy it. So I'm glad that it was something that you enjoyed watching.
Well, people like it, and it made a ton of money, which surprises me. So The Devil Wears Prada 2, I would say, is a success, and I'm happy that it came out. Which I don't always feel that way about sequels. I was a little wary about this one, and I do recommend that everyone goes and checks it out while it's in theaters because. Who doesn't want to see Meryl Streep on the big screen? And then you get Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt, and Stanley Tucci. Like, you can't miss.
I don't know if people know this, but there's a movie, speaking of movies that are coming out, there's a movie that's coming out that you and I are very excited for. And we're dropping this news first right here. No one's ever heard this before, but we're really, really excited for the Odyssey. Okay?
I don't know what that is. What's the Odyssey?
Dude, it's a new, I think his name is Christopher Nolan. Christopher, I don't know. He's direct, dude. It looks awesome. It's based on the book called The Iliad. I think there's a second one too. I don't remember what that one's called.
Oh,
but
shit.
It's based on that book.
I gotta look into that.
Yeah, dude. Homer Simpson wrote it. It's awesome.
Homer Simpson?
Yeah, the guy from Family Guy. Yeah. He wrote it. It's gonna be awesome.
I love his burgers.
Yeah. Dude, The Odyssey got a full trailer. You saw it. I saw it. What did you think of it?
Yeah, so Christopher Nolan went on Late Night with The Late Show with Stephen Colbert and debuted this new full trailer for The Odyssey. and I think it looks sick. I do have a problem with it. We'll get to in a second, but my initial reaction is, wow, man, I'm glad we got a lot of Robert Pattinson in this trailer. He looks really cool. Man, it looks like it's going to be a great movie. I mean, I am pumped.
It looks great. The teasers really didn't show anything mythological, which I was like, okay, they're saving it. And this trailer threw
we
the
see the
mythological at us.
Cyclops.
You see the Cyclops. I think you see, I want to say Scylla or Charybdis, one of those two. The one with tentacles, kind of, you see the tentacles moving, like, and then the other one is the whirlpool. I can't remember which one. I think Scylla is the tentacles and Charybdis is the whirlpool. I don't remember. But you see those, which is awesome. I'm glad they're kind of just throwing everything at us, but not everything, obviously.
Yeah.
I think we might have the same issue, but I'll wait till you say what your issue is.
Well, also, it was cool. It looks like we know Elliot Page is playing Achilles, it looks like, which is really sick.
Yeah.
The one person we haven't really seen at all yet is Zendaya.
Yeah.
Through all these trailers, that's not my issue, by the way, but that is just another thing I noted, because, we see, we've seen a lot of John Bernthal. We got a lot of Robert Pattinson in this one. We even see Elliot Page, like I said.
Decent amount of Tom Holland in it, too.
Decent amount of Tom Holland. Of course, Matt Damon, obviously.
Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, this obviously just gave us a better idea of the scope of this film, which is obviously massive. Zendaya, though, a lot of people online are saying, are we going to get Zendaya baited like we did in the first Dune movie, where she's barely going to be in it?
I think we are, because she's playing Athena, isn't she?
That's the rumor, unless it's confirmed, but that's
I don't
the
know.
rumor.
But I don't think we're going to get a lot of the gods besides like one or two scenes. I think it'll be quick. I think we are going to get Zendaya baited.
Which I'm not necessarily opposed to. I don't know that they ever said she was the star of the movie. I think we just have high expectations because Zendaya is one of the biggest stars today.
Yeah,
so
we want to see as much as her. Yeah.
But I think it looks sick. I think this is going to be one of my favorite movies of the year. I don't necessarily have it as my number one my prediction as of May the 4th, 5th, 6th, whatever, is that it won't be number one, though. I do think Dune 3 is going to be number one.
Okay.
I think it is possible the Odyssey could be as low as number 4. I think it'll be top 4, but I think it's possible it is as low as number 4. And again, that is not to say that this movie won't be insane.
Yeah,
it looks
not bad at all.
Insane.
Top 4 out of like the 60, 70 movies you're going to watch this year, like
right. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just being particular, I don't know that this trailer and all that we've seen to me looks better than the Dune teaser or the Godzilla -0 teaser.
Yeah, I didn't love this trailer. What was your issue with it?
So, okay, the issue is the dialogue.
Okay, go. Because I have something,
So, I don't think it's necessarily bad. Again, it's just like a 2-minute something trailer, right? But some of the dialogue feels kind of modern.
Yes. When Tom Holland says dad, I feel like he would say father. I was like, why is he saying my dad?
Yeah.
And then when Matt Damon's like,
let's go! Yeah.
Why would they not say like charge or go forth, brethren, or something like that,
Yeah, that was something I noticed too, where I was like,
yes, dude,
okay,
I'm so glad
this just
I was
gonna
not
be completely a modern dialogue take? Like,
and it doesn't help that they're all American.
Right. I mean, Pattinson's not even doing, not even talking in British, right? He's
Pattinson and Tom Holland, like, they're British and they're doing American accents. I thought this would be British accents just based on,
And Lupita knew. I mean, I don't know that Matt Damon can do a British.
But I think that's why they don't have British accents, because Matt Damon can't do one.
I mean, I think everyone would have been okay with Matt Damon just using his regular accent and then everyone else just doing a British accent. I feel like we all would have been like, all right, it's Matt Damon, whatever.
Yeah, okay, fair.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, it's like a couple of small lines in like a 2-minute trailer and what's supposed to be, yes, under 3 hours, but still probably well over 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sit here and say it's a problem. I can't say that without seeing the movie. But yeah, that was something I didn't love. I was like, okay, the dialogue
it is something
feels
that
a little modernized. It's not even that it's bad. It just feels modernized. And I don't want to say it'll take me out, because obviously it's not about historical accuracy. It's a goddamn, Greek poem about monsters and gods and all this crazy shit.
Yeah.
But when I say take me out of it, not because of the historical accuracy or whatever, but because of the, just the illusion of the fantasy,
Yeah, it also matters how they speak for the rest of the movie. I mean, if he's saying let's go and oh, my dad's going to make it home alive, like I don't know. And then in other scenes they're like doth mother know you findeth her a suitor, I'm like that's weird, you know what I mean? Like you can't have both. You can't have that blend. I feel like either they're modern, they're like, yeah, I want to fuck you, or they're like, I'm your suitor. Because that's what Robert Pattinson is the whole movie. He's like, I want to fuck Tom Holland's mom.
But he looks really good in this so far. I think it's crazy
good.
that Robert Pattinson is going to be the main villain in the big Nolan and Villeneuve film coming out this year.
Yeah, oh yeah, Dune 3.
He's the villain in Dune 3. And he
Yeah.
is the villain in the Odyssey, which
Yeah.
I think is really cool. But yeah, other than that, I think it looks insane. I am very excited for this movie.
Yeah, me too. I like the look of all the monsters, and I think they look really good, and I'm glad they're not holding back with that. And I think the humor is going to be good the way...
And I think they are, but the thing is they are obviously holding stuff back. And so
yes, but
that's
but
like
what we saw, they're not holding back like the way they actually look.
Yeah, I think it's very evident to me, even watching this on a trailer on my phone. It's evident that this was filmed entirely on IMAX. You know what I mean? And so I do, because I think the visuals, even on my fucking phone, like it's coming across, this vision that Nolan set forth with. So I do think that it's going to be this massive spectacle. Like I said, the scope is already very evident based on this trailer.
And I'm glad there's some humor, like when Matt Damon's like, I think he's sleeping, and then he immediately like turns. Like
yeah, people had problem with that, but I don't have a problem with that, because it's like a momentary humor followed by what seems like a very terrifying moment.
Yes, and it's not like it's taking away from the moment. It's actually adding to... what I see is like, why would they be that close? Oh, I think he's sleeping. Like that makes sense. That's why they're there. If they didn't think he's sleeping, why the fuck would they be 10 feet from him?
Right. I mean, and that's how they framed it in the trailer. It might be framed as this really dramatic moment in the film. Like it could be cut differently for the trailer. So,
I didn't mind that at all.
There were people online who were like, "This is this gives Marvel movie vibes." I was like, "On what world does this film look like the same production of a general Marvel movie?"
Because there's one line of funny dialogue.
Right. Like that's... I mean, we have long been critical of kind of Marvel's downfall of their dialogue in the last several years, where
Marvel humor is like a known thing now.
Yeah, it's become too campy in every film. There's no diversity in tone or genre in Marvel for the most part. And a lot of the visuals kind of look the same, not all, but in a lot of them. So, there are people looking at it and saying that as a criticism. I think I'm dumbfounded by that one. Like, I don't see that at all.
Yeah, but it looks great. I'm excited.
The day Odyssey comes out, man, I swear to God, it's interesting because you're going on vacation at one point before. I'm going on vacation after. So there's going to be this island in the middle where we're back, and we're just all day long, all episode, it's going to be the Odyssey.
Are you going to be on vacation when Spider-Man drops?
I am, and I wasn't going to talk about this now because we're on air, but I'm going to try to do that episode from the road so we can do it.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
But I will not be home when Spider-Man Brand New Day comes out.
Gotcha. All right, you want to move on?
All right, so as we talked about, it is Star Wars Day. Well, yesterday was Star Wars Day.
Star Wars week.
It's Star Wars week.
For
Star Wars deserves the whole fucking week.
Yeah.
And so we watched Maul Shadow Lord, which came out. But before we get into it, it's interesting because I came across, so I just wanted to use this moment to say this. I came across some facts about the top Star Wars projects from 2025 and from last year's Star Wars Day. And I just think you'll find it interesting, not surprising, but interesting. So I just kind of wanted to read through those for you and for everyone real quick. Last year in 2025, the Star Wars franchise was streamed for 33 billion minutes. That is 550 million hours of Star Wars content was streamed last year alone.
Jeez, okay.
So even though the movies haven't been anywhere near the level of expectation over the last several years, the shows have.
Yeah.
And that is very apparent in these statistics. The movies did account still for the biggest share of that viewing. 44.2% of that was the films. Live action shows made up 38.9% of that, and animated projects accounted for 16.8%. So maybe not as high with the animated. You actually talked about this a while ago, that there is not a high enough level of respect for the Lucasfilm animated projects that we get. And that is showing, maybe not in the reviews, but in the amount of minutes that is still being dedicated to the animated shows.
Yeah, and there's so much content there. It's not like, oh, well, maybe it's less because they're 20-minute episodes, but there's so many seasons. There's like
7 seasons of Clone Wars. There were what 6 of Rebels, 5 of Rebels,
4 of Rebels,
4 of Rebels,
3 of
Bad Batch,
1 of Maul. You have Star Wars Resistance, which is the kids show, but there's still like 2 or 3 seasons of that. You have all of Tales of Jedi, Tales of Empire, Tales of the Underworld. There's a lot
even
of
of
seasons.
the Lego specials, the Star Wars Lego specials.
That's like
that have come out.
20-something seasons worth of Star Wars.
I agree. Interestingly enough, documentaries about Star Wars actually did account for part of that number. It was very small. It was 0.2%, but they did account for it last year. I'm curious. I'm going to ask you what you think were the top 3 most viewed titles last year in Star Wars. And I will start you off with a hint. They're all movies.
Yeah, I'm going to say the number 1 is Revenge of the Sith.
No.
Is it top 3?
No.
Whoa.
That surprised me too. That surprised me too, for what it's worth.
Okay, then I'm going to say Empire.
No, that is not
what
top 3 either.
Fuck? New Hope?
A New Hope was the most viewed title last year.
Force Awakens.
Nope.
What the hell? Phantom Menace?
Yeah, Phantom Menace was number 2.
Because but Maul was coming out. Maybe that's why.
But this was last year. Maul wasn't coming out yet.
Okay, fair enough. Phantom Menace at number 2.
I was shocked by that one.
I don't want to say anything. I hope it's nothing. I want to say Rogue One.
Rogue One is number 3.
Okay, good.
Rogue One is number 3.
If it was Attack
shocked.
of the Clones, I would have been insane.
I actually would have been annoyed.
Yeah.
Andor was the most viewed live action series last year. 7.4 billion minutes viewed. Not surprising because it was coming out with season 2 at that time, but it is also a testament to how incredible that show is. As you know, that is still one of my favorite Star Wars projects of all time.
Yeah, it's only got 20 episodes.
Right up there. So for it to be 7.4 billion minutes worth of viewing, that was the most watched project last year on May the 4th, on Star Wars Day specifically, was Andor. Wow. The top 3 movies that day, you want to try those?
I want to say Revenge of the Sith.
Nope.
Fuck. All right. New Hope.
Yes, that was number 1.
Empire Strikes Back.
That was number 3.
Rogue One.
No.
Don't say Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace?
It was Phantom Menace
what
at number 2.
What the hell, dude?
I can't believe more people last Star Wars Day watched Phantom Menace than Empire or Revenge of the Sith or Rogue One.
Is it just because they're like, let's start all the Star Wars movies and they watch Phantom Menace and they're like, fuck this sucks?
I mean, that's possible. I'm not I can understand that argument for Star Wars Day.
Yeah.
I don't understand how Phantom Menace finished in the top 3 and the whole year.
That's crazy.
Interestingly enough, the last fact I have for you before we move on to Maul Shadowlord, no sequel films were in the entire top 10.
Yeah, I thought maybe...
At all.
Wait, top 10?
They were not in the top 10 at all.
It's
not
Force
of films,
Awakens.
it's of all projects.
Yeah,
it's
I thought Force
projects.
Awakens might have been able to crack that.
I don't know the top 10, but I know that no sequel films were there.
Wow.
So you probably had all the... you definitely had A New Hope and Empire. Probably Return of the Jedi, but you definitely had A New Hope. You had Empire.
Probably
you had Phantom Menace, I guess. You had
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith. You had Andor.
Mandalorian, I'm sure.
Mandalorian was probably there. So that's 6 alone. Rogue One was probably 7.
Yeah, maybe Clone Wars?
Maybe. maybe Clone Wars.
You said
So
Andor?
I already said Andor. So that's 8 though, right there. So no sequel
Yeah.
films in the top 10 Star Wars media last year.
That's and there are diehard Last Jedi fans, so that is a little surprising.
Yeah, but I do think that in general, the sequel films did not like. You can criticize, and believe me, I do criticize the prequel trilogy for a lot of things. There's a lot of cool moments surrounded by a lot of not great stuff.
Yes.
But I do think that at least at the time of the prequel films, there was already this dedicated fan base that grew and grew over the years as those films kind of aged lighter in people's hearts. That does not exist. There's a lot more harsher criticism that surrounds the sequel trilogy, in my opinion, and I just don't think that same base exists because people today, kids today, like when I think of the prequel trilogy, you and I grew up with those films, right? So that's where that kind of nostalgia for it comes from that grows into a more widespread love for it. Kids today don't like the sequel trilogy though. Like
No,
they don't like it.
No, we can admit where the prequels have made mistakes and they're wrong, but we still go, oh, but we still have like some connection to it. People with the sequels are like, they just suck.
It just sucks, right?
And I actually really like Force Awakens. It is up there for me, man.
I like Force Awakens. I understand people feel it's a rehash of A New Hope.
I think it's better. And I know that is a spicy hot take.
That is a pretty spicy take. I would not say it's better than A New Hope, but I do like it. Part of me wonders though, I do want to go back and rewatch not Rise of Skywalker, but the other two. I do think that I would maybe actually like The Last Jedi more now.
I strongly dislike that movie.
But not more than Rise of Skywalker.
No, Rise of Skywalker is the worst thing Star Wars has made.
Yeah, probably. Well, no, I think there's one thing worse that Star Wars has
The holiday
made.
special?
The Caravan of Courage.
Oh,
and the holiday
Ewok
special.
Thing?
Those two are worse.
Yeah.
The Caravan of Courage and the holiday special
Star Wars
are worse
canon.
than Rise
Star
of
Wars
Skywalker.
canon.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something that isn't bad Star Wars content. Let's get into Maul Shadow Lord. Here are our ratings and reviews. Spoilers ahead for Maul Shadow Lord, the whole season. I'll go first. I give this 8.1 robot legs out of 10.
Wow. Okay. I gave this series 9 on the dot. 9 I don't know, Jedi that were made up out of nowhere out of 10. Which is something, by the way, that always gets me. Every time there's like a new Jedi introduced, I'm like, where the fuck were you?
Dude,
during the Clone Wars?
They all survived Order 66 at this point. Like, I know there were 10,000 Jedi, and maybe there's like 100 surviving, so what is that, like 0.1%? But I'm still shocked every time I'm like, how the fuck did this guy survive? You know?
Yeah, I'm like, where were you all this time, Docky? Where the fuck have you been, dude?
Do you remember the days where we thought it was only Yoda and Obi-Wan who survived?
Because at one point it really was just Yoda and Obi-Wan who survived.
And then they dropped like Maul on us and Ahsoka.
Maul. I mean, I know what you're saying, but I thought you were talking about Jedi only.
Well, no, I mean every Force-sensitive person that's not part of the Empire was targeted.
Okay. Yeah, I mean you're right, but I was thinking like.
Yeah, but like
Maul was already pretty much hiding at that
Ahsoka
point.
And Kanan and Ezra and then it's like, oh my god, now we have Docky. Who the hell is this guy?
Who the fuck is Docky?
And Devin, just a regular ass name.
A fucking Padawan named Devin, dude. Devin.
It seems like you were a little surprised that I was at an 8.
A little. I mean, I don't know if you're surprised that I'm at a 9.
I am. I thought maybe we'd have similar issues, but maybe not. I really enjoyed this. So Maul Shadow Lord is great. It's visually incredible. It's the best visuals we've gotten in Star Wars animation.
I would say with the exception of Visions, which is kind of its own thing anyway.
Yeah.
But
I think
with the exception of like, and obviously it's better than some of those Visions episodes, but a lot of those Visions episodes specifically, I think, have better animation.
I guess you would say Disney animated because Disney didn't animate those.
Yes, I would agree with that.
And it's great. It's a great story. It's got some great characters. And I loved it. I had a great time watching it, but I do have some issues, but maybe we could save those for,
I mean, I could maybe be at an 8.8 now that I think about it, but that's besides, I could, I'm not as low as you. I'm not an 8.1.
Yeah,
I'm not that low. I could maybe be just below a 9. So I was thinking about it. I gave Fallout season 2 a 9. I was like, maybe I liked Fallout a little more actually.
Yeah,
But
Fallout 2 is great.
Anyway, no, I loved it. I agree. I think it was visually spectacular. I actually like basically binged the show. I did not start it when it came out like you did. I kind of ran through the show over the weekend.
And I kind of wish I did that too, because waiting after watching, I guess, 2 20-minute episodes, I was like, I need more, man. I need
Well,
some
the
more.
thing about that's like I'm not huge into binge culture. Like I do prefer the weekly releases,
Yeah.
but I just it wasn't because I didn't want to see Maul. It was just solely like I have so much on my plate. You know, we got movies, sports, you know, like movies, TV. Obviously, there's like the Stanley Cup playoffs right now.
Yeah, and it's only
I'm reading 2 books right now.
It's like 4 hours worth of content. You could,
So that's why it was like easy for me to just like hold off on it.
Yeah.
And also, I wasn't seeing anything about it on social media, so I was like, okay, I can wait till like closer to May 4th. Like I don't have to start these 2 25-minute episodes and then sit on it. I can just do other stuff and then take out like a weekend to watch Maul. You know what I mean? And I loved it. I mean, it was great because it did keep things fresh in my mind watching it though. I thought that everything with Maul was incredible. I think this was Sam Witwer's best performance as Maul.
Yeah, it was so good. He's so passionate about it, man.
Yeah, you know, and voice acting is a real art on its own, right? You know, I do think that sometimes gets looked over. That is a real art, and I think that Sam Witwer had his best performance. And what I loved about seeing Maul is, I do think, with the exception of like the scene at the end of Clone Wars when he is with Ahsoka, you know, besides that, this is probably the most we've seen of like, I don't want to say Maul's good side, but I think it's very clear, and Maul himself makes this point in the show, that it's not just a simple matter of good versus evil. Maul is a very, I know you like when I use this word, he's a very nuanced character. He's a tragic, he's a tragic character who kind of understands that he is who he is. He is not a good person, but it also isn't his fault, and he also is kind of has this touch with his emotions to a sense. You see that more in this series, I think, than any other Maul interpretation before. Like specifically 100%. After episode 8, when he's crawling through the tunnels trying to get back to his base there, and you kind of see him having these visions of, you know, Sidious and Kenobi and his brother, you know, Savage, and he's looking at himself in the reflection in the water. I was like sitting there and I'm like, this is the best stuff of Maul we've ever seen. Like
his younger self, and he's like, I'll never let that happen to anyone else.
Yeah, I think
as it's actually happening to Anakin.
Yeah, like I think we're seeing such incredible perspective added to his character that we don't have before, and it just elevates him as a character in the Star Wars universe. It was the best stuff in this show.
I agree,
without a doubt.
Which leans into, well, okay, one thing I also like before I get into issues is I also thought that this series really made the Inquisitors something cooler and something more. Like, they were actually scary when they showed up. Like, I knew they were going to live and they weren't going to kill at least Maul, because both those Inquisitors eventually get folded by Ahsoka, and we know that in canon. But every time Inquisitors usually show up, they're just fodder, right? Ahsoka one-taps both those guys eventually, which is kind of stupid. But, I mean, every time they showed up...
Right, because look how much trouble... Like, it took Maul with a Jedi and his Padawan to, like, keep fighting them off.
Exactly. And I thought that was cool. I was nervous the whole time. I was like, oh, shit, one of these guys might kill Daki. You know, because I was like, the whole show, we knew Daki was going to die, right? There was no way Daki made it out of this alive.
Predictable.
But I was waiting for one of the Inquisitors or Maul to do it, and I like that the Inquisitors were not just fodder to kind of just be killed immediately. Like, they were actually a threat to these characters. And they were smart and competent. Otherwise, they're usually just dumb. So I thought that was a great addition.
And it wasn't even... And I think part of why you could see this threatening position of these characters, of these 2 Inquisitors, is also... not just when they fight Maul, but, you know, you see them go up against Devin. She's obviously clearly outmatched.
Yeah.
You know, she can hold her own, but she would be clearly outmatched. And you see that, like, okay, maybe they're not strong enough to take down the strongest in the galaxy, like an Ahsoka or a Maul or someone like that. But they are very threatening presences. They're not just, you know, throwaway characters that are there for cool action sequences. Like, they serve a purpose and they are a threat to the protagonist that we are following. So I thought that was really interesting. And I do want to piggyback, obviously I agree. Daki was like a goner this season.
I thought he'd be dead by episode like 3 or 4.
I was waiting for it to happen. I'm glad that he made it towards the end because of the fact that another thing that I really liked is Maul's like search for an apprentice, because not because he wants one, but because he needs one. Because again, we learn a lot of Maul's intentions and perspective in this show, and that is including like, he is a bad person with semi-good intentions.
He wants to take down the Empire.
Which is to take down the Empire and those who wronged him. And he may go about that in wrong ways, obviously imprisoning, Vario and imprisoning Devin and all that stuff. But, what he's doing, causing, proxy wars between, the Syndicate Guild and everything, like he's doing so with a long-term goal in his mind of taking down the Empire. And it is good that Daki lasted as long as he did, because the whole season, what is the most interesting part about Devin's character? It's her internal struggle, a la kind of Anakin and Maul a bit, in the past, this struggle of, do I follow this Jedi way or do I give in? What is the path forward to defeating my enemies, to fulfilling my powers? And she needs that push, seeing Daki killed by the Empire, by the Inquisitors. That's what we see push her over that edge. Obviously, the season ends with her, I'm ready, and seeing her fight with the red lightsaber, with Maul's saber, or half of Maul's saber, that kind of locks in this kind of destiny, this path chosen for her. I thought it was brilliant. I loved all that with her. So, and with Maul.
I think season 2 is going to be even better with that, because, Lawson is alive. I think Lawson's alive. We did not see a body. He walked into the mist. He's the only one who saw Maul push Daki, and I think he'll show up halfway through season 2 and tell that to Devin, and she'll have even more conflict. Like her new master got her old master killed. Because they didn't show a body. It's Star Wars,
That's a good point.
He's the only one who saw it.
That was way more of a surprise than Daki. Like, I was like, okay, someone's going to die here. There's just too much. They're too pinned in for someone to live. Dead. That's interesting. Again, also Wagner Moura. So do you want to waste his character in one season? And by the way, you would not know that's Wagner Moura without knowing, like, listening to the voice. Like, I think he does a fantastic job.
Really? I clocked it immediately. I was like, that's Wagner Moura. Well, he just has such a distinct voice.
He does, but it's not just him talking. Like, I think he's doing a good enough performance. Like, it's not that I didn't know that's Wagner Moura.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, if you don't know that that's Wagner Moura doing,
you're not distracted.
It's not distracting. You're not like, oh, that's Wagner Moura. Like,
yes, I was never thinking like, oh, he's just doing Wagner Moura. I was like, this is Wagner Moura as Lawson.
Which, by the way, is a dumb name, Lawson.
I know, and then he's
a lawman.
And his son is the Lawson's son.
He's the son of the lawman who's Lawson. Like, I was just like, exactly. It was just so on the nose. I was like, you couldn't think of like a better name. But anyway,
I think he's alive,
that's obviously, that's a good point. I could see that happening, because I could see her like, I don't know how much time will pass between season 1 and 2, if she's already in the middle of her training with Maul, and like, I can see him being like, yes, like, I'm so close to fulfilling my destiny of, taking down the Empire. Like, I need someone to do this with, hence why he tried to get Ahsoka at the end of Clone Wars. Like, he can't do it alone. Yeah. And he tried to get Ezra in Rebels. That's right. So like, he can't do it alone. He's trying to assemble, but nobody trusts him because of his past. So, and his he uses people, right?
And we got to remember, by Rebels, Devin's not there, and he needs a new apprentice. So what happens? Either she leaves or she dies.
That's a good point. And maybe that's like where, I don't know if season 2 will be like the last season of this. It's not something they necessarily need to drag on forever and ever. Just tell your story and get out.
Right.
But that's a good point that I didn't even consider. She obviously is not around by then. So I wonder if like Lawson comes back at a time where it gets her killed, or, I don't think it's going to be as simple as her walking away, because we see in this show, he is very insistent that she can be the one to join forces with him, and she does. So I don't know that Maul would necessarily just let her leave.
No, I think she'll try and fight him, and then he'll probably kill her or something.
Yeah, and I can maybe see him having like internal struggles with that. Like I can see him killing her out of necessity and then feeling upset about it.
I agree, because when we saw even that droid, the flying droid die, you
The
could
little
see
spy
Maul was
bot.
upset.
Yeah.
Like Maul was genuinely upset that a droid died. I was like, I cannot believe this guy has
When one of the
feelings like that.
brothers died from the hands of the Inquisitors, he
I know.
felt the same way.
And he sacrificed himself. So something I didn't love about this is that I thought I wanted more Maul. And we're talking about the best stuff in the series. It's Maul. I like all these side characters, but it really felt like Maul was just a plot device. And until episode 8 or episode whatever 6, whatever he's walking around in the sewers, he wasn't really a character. He was just a plot device until the last half.
I sort of agree. I don't know if he was totally a plot device. I think he was. I mean, so it's called Shadow Lord. He is the Shadow Lord, right? And
Yeah.
so I do think there is supposed to be this. I mean, I half agree with you because I don't think there was enough of him, but there is also this sense of mystery that he surrounds. He's lurking, and we see that reflect in these side characters, you know, as they try to find him and piece this all together. So I don't know that you need him in every single scene. Now, my problem is I don't love all the side characters. So we're spending time with some of these side characters, and I'm like, they're fine. I don't hate any of them.
Yeah, I don't have any problems with any of them.
Like everything with like I don't know. I don't really care about the syndicate stuff with Vario and what was it, Craig's or whatever.
Dryden Voss at the end leading into the
Dryden
solo
like
movie.
I don't care about any of that. I didn't care about any of that personally.
It's good to connect it, but I don't care about those characters.
Yeah, but like there's a lot of Vario early on, and obviously we see a lot of that proxy war stuff. I just didn't care. I was like, okay, where's Maul? Like, I know
I can't believe
Maul's-
Vario survived, by the way.
Yeah, it's you know what I mean. Like, what the who's this fucking guy? You know what I mean?
He's gonna be in season 2. Come on.
We know Maul is, you know, I'm not saying I don't understand why it's there. Again, we know Maul is, you know, pulling the strings. It was just a lot that I didn't care about. Even the stuff with Lawson and Two Boots, I thought it was really interesting to show like what local law enforcement, how they deal with feeling the pressure of the Empire.
Yes, I did.
I thought
like
that I thought that was interesting. It just got repetitive after a while.
There's
It
too
was
much
like,
screen time on them.
it was too much of that going back and forth between Two Boots and Lawson. I was like, all right, just do it already. Like,
Yeah.
we know it's coming. It was like 4 episodes before.
Yeah, the Empire doesn't show up till the end of episode 3 or the end of episode 4 or something.
I think it was the end of episode 4 is when
Yeah.
Two Boots calls the Empire. So for almost half of the season, it's Lawson going, we cannot call the Empire Two Boots, and Two Boots is like, well, that's protocol, and I'm like, okay, I get it, you know what I mean? So that was a little annoying, and then, you know, I like that they introduced the idea of like Lawson's wife working for the Empire and all that, but
they didn't do much with that.
They didn't
though.
do anything with that, so I didn't love that either. you
Well,
know?
at least, you know, Lawson told Two Boots at the end, he was like, get him to his mom.
Yes, it will
So
come back to
maybe,
play.
yeah.
I do think it will age better if they play into it more, but for season 1, it was just kind of a throwaway or like
Yeah.
a very weak setup to that.
And I really didn't have too many issues. The only other thing that I didn't love is that I feel like there was nothing, I guess, surprising about this series. Like, it seemed very predictable. You know what I mean?
It was
like,
very predictable.
We knew Docky was going to die. I knew Darth Vader was going to show up. Like, everyone was talking about it. They even released a poster of him before the show even aired about him showing up.
See, I didn't really know that. I mean, I didn't know it. I figured he would, but
Right.
how they did it was sick.
It was awesome, but there was just no shock. And every arc of the Clone Wars has like a whoa or a twist or a shock or anything like that. And this was just very linear, very this happens, and it was not surprised at all. I don't need surprise, but it just felt like there should have been something.
Well, let me ask you what you think about this, because the way I would interpret that then is, as Star Wars continues to plug in pieces of the whole story of Star Wars,
Yeah.
right? From, you know, the Old Republic all the way to the sequels and all that, and you fill in all these pieces in between with shows and movies, doesn't it kind of take away the element of surprise more when you are more and more restricted in what you can do with characters and stories because this will happen or that will happen? You know what I mean? Like, for example, there's no threat to Maul, right? We know Maul ends up dying in Rebels.
Yeah,
so
we know the Inquisitors are fine.
we know the Inquisitors don't die, right? So, I mean, you could say these side characters, it feels very low stakes, though. I
It does
mean,
feel super low stakes.
so, in that case, it's not just a Maul Shadow Lord problem, but it's kind of like just a Star Wars problem. Hell, you can even argue Marvel, but Marvel works differently. It's like going on and on, where Star Wars is like the timeline plugging in
They're
pieces.
filling in. I agree. I think that they have to use that shock of adding a character in. They can only use it once, right? So they use the shock of Darth Maul is in Rebels, and this is what he's doing in Rebels. And now anything you add from before that, you can't have any. It's no surprise because he's in the Maul thing, and now you know where that leads to. Like, there's no surprise. So they use the shock value of Maul shows up in Rebels. Oh my god. Ahsoka shows up in Rebels. Oh my god. Now you know she survives Order 66. That was a huge thing. Is Ahsoka survive Order 66? So you automatically, everything that takes place beforehand loses all of its mystery. And Maul, yeah, you're right. The stakes become increasingly lower because they used him in Rebels, because they use him in this, they use this in this. All the Inquisitors get killed by Ahsoka or Maul, so you know none of them die in this series. So it's yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So
I
it's
agree. I
just
totally agree.
the show goes. It's still a very entertaining show, but it does become more of a filler show. You know what I mean? Like, you are filling in pieces of information to the major Star Wars story. You're
Yeah.
not really telling anything new.
Like, what is this really adding to the larger Star Wars universe? And we don't need something to add to the larger Star Wars universe, but
No, clearly,
like,
I still really enjoyed it. I am going to say 8.8, not a 9. But even
yeah.
with that said, still really enjoyed the show. It still adds a lot to Maul's character, but you're right. What does it add to Star Wars?
Right, like even Andor, it's like this very compact show that doesn't have huge overall stakes, but when you think about it, it really does. It's the formation of the rebellion, which leads into the huge, a huge part of Star Wars. Maul, yeah, sure, he has like the Syndicate, but that doesn't really play a part in anything else. So like we don't really care about that.
It certainly doesn't end up playing a huge part in the Empire's, downfall in the end.
Right. So I'm just wondering where this is going. And then the last thing I have an issue with, unless you have more about that.
No, I just wanted to add a thought like that. Then goes to what we were saying about Devin. It's like, this is not a previously established character. She can only go so far because she's not there with Maul down the road.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then the difference I feel with Andor, other than what you said, it leads to the formation of the rebellion. That's also a show that it's doing something more than just fitting into Star Wars. It also has a lot to say in terms of its political and social commentary in real life, which, if you go back to the original George Lucas Star Wars in 77 and then the 80s, that was the point of Star Wars, it was political commentary.
Yeah, it's like Nazis and shit.
Right. So at least Andor has that, which, again, I'm not saying Maul Shadow Lord needs that, but it needs something. You have something to say about real life, reflect that into the art and story, or have something that alters our perspective and the greater story of Star Wars. Like, you need something, in my opinion. And I don't know that Shadow Lord necessarily has that, but it's still so much fun.
Are we asking for too much? Because some people might be satisfied with this fills in, you get Maul's backstory and you get what happens between now and Rebels. And they're like, that's all we want. And I guess if that's all you want, yeah, it's fine. So maybe we are asking a little too much. But I don't know.
I mean, maybe it's asking too much of this particular show, but I think it's still a fair critique of Star Wars as a whole.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
I mean, I'm satisfied with the show. I'm not saying
I enjoyed it. We both put in the 8s.
I'm satisfied with Maul Shadow Lord. Absolutely. It's just, when I look at, like, Andor was, like I said, a 10 out of 10 show. Clone Wars is like a 10 out of 10 show. Like, these are shows that had both social and political commentary and moved the needle, changed the perspective, played a big part in the greater Star Wars story.
Yeah.
Like, so when I look at those shows and I compare it to Maul Shadow Lord, as fun as it is, can't be one of the greatest Star Wars projects because it just doesn't accomplish those same things. It accomplishes what it is trying to, I guess. But I don't think it's unfair for us to say we want more. We want real satisfaction.
Yeah, I get that, and I'm with you. I wanted a larger, piece to be involved with that. Also, just one other thing that I didn't love. I think Maul was nerfed pretty heavily in the show. I think he kind of it loses his scare, the fear factor that we always had of Maul. And I know he calms down as the seasons go on, but even in Clone Wars Season 7, he rips apart the ship with just the Force. And now every time he fights someone, they just stab him in the leg and his legs start bugging out. I don't know. I get he's nerfed for the Vader fight because Vader.
He's also, this is the first time he's ever encountered Vader.
He doesn't even know who Vader is. He's never heard of him. And
he doesn't know how
Vader
to fight him.
is going to dominate anyone. So we get that. Like Vader's going to dominate Maul. He's going to dominate Ahsoka, anybody. But for characters that Ahsoka, I mean, that Inquisitor with the mask, that with the glowing red eyes, Ahsoka kills him without a weapon. She literally punches him, takes his sword, and kills him. Like, Maul is struggling against him for a while, and it's like, I get it, they stabbed him in the leg, but how many times can Inquisitors just stab him in the side of the leg and his leg starts freaking out? You know what I mean? It just seemed like very convenient that they would always hit him there and then now
do we think that Ahsoka is stronger than Maul?
I think they're pretty even.
In Rebels?
By Rebels, I think she's stronger, but by the end of the Clone Wars, I think they're pretty even, so I think she's barely above Maul.
Right, but by Rebels, he's older, he's worn down, she's trained, she's not trained in the Jedi Order, but she's kind of done her own training, like
right. But when she kills that Inquisitor, it's before Rebels. It's pretty soon after probably this show, because it's in Tales of the Jedi that she does that.
Right, but how close is this show in length, like in time, to Rebels? Like how far? Like Maul has probably already peaked at this point in his power.
During Rebels, I think Luke is like maybe a little younger than 10 years old because he's a child. You see him running around. That's like 10 years after the Clone Wars. I don't know. I think just Maul is nerfed in the show because of his legs. And it's like, okay, that's so convenient. Why didn't Obi-Wan think of that anytime he fought him in the Clone Wars? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a good point. I mean, I don't think he's super nerfed, but I do think we see his power. I think he just becomes overpowered as the show goes on.
Yeah.
And
he does dominate everybody who's not an Inquisitor or Darth Vader.
Yeah. So
even Devin, he's like playing with her,
Yeah, yeah. I love how Vader doesn't say anything. He's basically fighting two Jedi and Maul with his hand behind his back. Like,
dude, he is so sick.
Now, obviously, part of why he doesn't say anything is because James Earl Jones is dead. So
yeah, but this is one of his best appearances.
Vader, I agree.
He's just so menacing. I love it.
It's the kind of Vader we should see, because we're always talking about, like, he is ruthless. He is the strongest person in the galaxy. He kills thousands of people. Like, a lot of the times we would say, we never see that. Like, why don't we see that side of Vader? And people say, well, the comics. No, man, I want to see it on TV. I want to see it in the movies. Like, show me it. I don't want to.
Dude, I'm surprised he didn't one-tap all of them, honestly. Like, they put up a better fight than I thought they would.
I do think he spent a lot of the time toying with them, though.
Yeah, you think so?
I do think he was toying with them for a bit.
Yeah, even when Daki was 1v1ing him, I was like, how is this guy still alive? Like, I know he's going to die
Well,
soon,
he didn't last very long. Yeah. And I do think that's why I don't think Maul was nerfed too much, because I think most of why Vader wasn't able to just one-tap is because Maul is still pretty strong.
Dude, Maul blocking Vader's lightsaber with the Force was sick. Vader
did
it first.
I was going to say, they're blocking each other.
The fight choreography for all of these episodes was so incredible. Do you know that shot in episode 9 where three of them are fighting the two Inquisitors? And they stop?
You know what I loved in that one? I was going to bring up when Maul notices the stormtroopers by the edge looking into the acid river, and he does the Battlefront fucking throw when he throws his saber and he gets all of them and it comes back to him. I watched that. I watched that. I was like, damn, I want to play Battlefront again, man.
Yeah,
like,
dude, I want to play some Maul. No, the fight choreography, everything was so incredible in the show. It's a great show. Like, I have my complaints, but it's a great show. I'm very excited for season 2.
I agree. I had so much fun watching this show. Yes. It was really good. 8.8. I love it. And I look forward to season 2 for sure.
Yeah, and I like that. Like, as much as we're like we want more Maul, there's not really filler in this show. Like, everything matters.
There's no time. It's very much paced like we're going, man.
Which
is what's happening.
Because the last animated show they made, besides the Tales, which was only like 6 episodes, is Bad Batch, and that was a huge complaint that people had, that a lot of that was filler when you don't have that much time,
Yeah.
So
this was better than Bad Batch.
This was better than most of Bad Batch, I'd say. I like a lot of Bad Batch, but
there's a couple of episodes of Bad Batch I agree are better, but as a whole, this season was better.
Yes, I'd say as a whole, this is better than
I don't think any actual season of Bad Batch as a whole was better than this season. I
Yeah,
just think that Bad Batch has episodes that are better.
I agree. I agree. That's all I got to say about Maul.
Yeah,
Great
me
show.
too. So we both recommend watching Maul Shadow Lord now. All episodes out on Disney Plus. And to celebrate Star Wars week, you should go check that out.
Yeah.
I know that that's not the only franchise that you kind of dove into recently.
I finally finished Lord of the Rings, the 3 movies. I didn't do The Hobbit or anything like that. I finished Lord of the Rings. I don't have much to say about it because honestly, Josh and I could argue for days about it.
And
And eventually we will.
would argue for
Eventually we
days.
will have maybe
I
a
need
full
Crosby
discussion.
to come be my muscle like Matt was
Yeah.
last week. I need Crosby to back me up.
All I want to say is I was wrong about this franchise, but I was right about the first movie. So the way I look at it is I think the first movie is a bad movie. The Fellowship of the Ring sucks. Two Towers is great, and Return of the King is pretty good. So as a franchise as a whole, it's a pretty good franchise. I have no hate for it, but I do think I was right about the first movie, which nobody's going to agree with. I don't care. Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring sucks, and Two Towers is my favorite, which apparently is like everyone's least favorite.
Yeah, but that's like least favorite. You know what I mean? Like it's my least favorite, and I gave all 3 movies 10 out of 10.
Yeah, the way like
So,
Return of the Jedi is probably your least favorite, right?
yeah.
And that's a great movie still.
It's a great movie. So, I mean,
No,
least favorite by just like if you have to pick one, right? But they're all
right.
incredible in my opinion.
And I think eventually I'll do like a full in-depth review maybe on an episode where we can actually chat about it. If people want to see that, let us know. But we
That's for the Patreon.
it's for the Patreon. I'm prefacing by saying, we are going to rank our top 10 trilogies, and Lord of the Rings isn't on mine. Okay. So when we post a clip of it or we post this episode, people are like, where's Lord of the Rings? Where's Lord of the Rings? I don't fucking like Lord of the Rings that much. Okay. So
Dude, but you're going to get that when you clip this. Unless that part is in it,
I might have to put that in there.
You're gonna get, even if you put it, you're gonna get that anyway. Like people are like, where the fuck is Lord of the Rings, dude?
I also am realizing when we go over our trilogies, the second movie in most trilogies is my favorite. And I think it's when I was looking at these, I was always like, this is my favorite. This is my favorite. And Lord of the Rings is now one of those trilogies.
I'm very excited for this. Do you want to flip one of our buddies?
Yeah, flip a bitch.
All right. It's been a while. Come on, Marty. Jack, heads or tails?
I'm going to call heads.
Fuck. It was tails.
You're blind. Yeah, that's right. All right, tails. So you go first.
I blame it on the eye dilation.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to rank my top 10 favorite trilogies of all time. Now, I don't know how you went about this. I went about it as my favorite, but also how it works as a trilogy. Like I kind of combine both factors in my thought process.
Yes, yeah. Like if I love one movie like it's my favorite movie of all time, but the other two suck, it's not in my top 3. It's top.
Yeah,
10,
exactly. Like yeah. I factored in not just what I love, but how it works as a trilogy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with 4 honorable mentions. Those being Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, the Creed trilogy, the Evil Dead trilogy, and the Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy.
We're going to have a lot of repeats.
In my honorable mentions. And just for good measure, there are 2 really well-known older trilogies that I've never seen. So just to highlight those as a want to watch is the Human Condition trilogy and the 3 Colors trilogy.
And before we get into your actual top 10, I do want to tell people that a lot of these trilogies aren't going to be official trilogies, but it's to your own discretion, right? Like you said, Pirates of the Caribbean, there's 5 of those movies, but the fourth one didn't come out until 10 years after the third one, right? So that's a trilogy.
Yeah, I think that with the discretion, people will
exactly.
know.
Like people would be like, Toy Story is not a trilogy anymore. Shut the fuck up. Toy Story, the first 3 are a trilogy, okay?
Yeah. So in 10th place, I have the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy. Now this is an example, like you said, where I think the second is the best. I love these movies. I do think that what works so well is, and this is obviously with a lot of trilogies, is the growth of Hiccup over the course of the 3 films, and just seeing kind of like the way that they all kind of go from hating dragons to obviously becoming such a big cultural, staple. In what is it, Arengard or Arengard?
No, dude. The Isle of Berk.
Oh, what am I thinking of? Am I
I
thinking of
don't know.
Frozen? Isn't
Oh
that the
yeah,
Frozen kind?
yeah, that's some Frozen
The fuck
shit.
did I mix that up for? Yeah, The Island of Berk. You're right. Um, I just love it. I think it's a great trilogy. In ninth place, I have the Planet of the Apes trilogy, where also the second one's my favorite, but
Yes, me too.
I mean the first one is really good, Rise of the Planet, and then Dawn and War are even better. And again, this is
Peak.
just seeing kind of the development of Caesar as a main character. It is so well filmed. Matt Reeves does a brilliant job with it. Just a fantastic trilogy, that showcases like a split faction, war of ideologies, and showing it obviously between chimps and humans, and then chimps versus chimps. Like, it's just a great trilogy. In eighth place is the Indiana Jones trilogy. It is a lot of fun. Now, my favorite is Raiders, but it is very close. Last Crusade is obviously a fantastic movie. I know that's your favorite.
Mhm.
My favorite is still Raiders. This is opposite, where I think the second one is technically the worst one.
Me
Come to
too.
think. But I love it. I mean, Harrison Ford, this is just one of the best adventure trilogies you'll ever find. I love the different settings. I love the side characters. I really think this captured just such an adventurous spirit. In seventh place is the Godfather trilogy. This maybe would be higher if it wasn't for the third movie, which is noticeably weaker than the first two. But what is still remarkable is showcasing, kind of this fall of a character in Michael Corleone, showing just the Corleone empire in general, and the way that, this like mafia lifestyle impacts, their decisions, their humanity that kind of gets broken away. It is obviously The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2 are two of the most iconic films of all time. And while the third is maybe lesser so, it is still an important conclusion to that story. In sixth place is the Dollars trilogy. Now, I know you prefaced before by saying, oh, not all of these trilogies are your stereotypical trilogies, and this is a little different. So you talk about Pirates of the Caribbean or Toy Story, where there's other films. These are three films that are not totally related. It is for a few dollars more, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and Once Upon a Time in the West. It's the spaghetti westerns from Clint Eastwood and Sergio Leone. I watched them for the first time last year, and it's more about the central character, Clint Eastwood, the man with no name. It's three different names each time, and he kind of roams into these different towns. But there is a lot of similarities about showcasing, American frontier life and the brutality of it. It really is three incredible films. To be honest with you, it would like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is one of my favorite movies of all time. And I do think that there is a sense that this could be higher on my list if it was if it was cohesive in a sense, but I also do appreciate how it's a different kind of trilogy,
Yeah,
you
it's like the
know.
Cornetto trilogy. Shaun of the Dead,
Mhm.
At World's End, Hot Fuzz. Yeah,
Where they're not necessarily connected, but they're connected more thematically than
exactly.
narratively.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
gotcha.
how it is with the Dollars trilogy, and they're fantastic movies. In fifth place is the Toy Story trilogy. This is the greatest animated trilogy of all time. The story
Yeah,
of showcasing how we grow up, the impact on toys in our childhood, and the way it comes full circle at the end. It was part of my childhood. It resonates very well, as you get older, that perspective, that feeling of, um, the things that you kind of attach to as a kid, and the way that, you kind of feel about them as you get older. I cleaned out my storage room, man. You find stuff in there and you're like, oh my God, you know what I mean? It's just so many great characters, so many great storylines, so many great villains, Lotso and the Prospector and everything. I don't know how you can't watch all three of those and just fall in love every time.
yeah.
In fourth place is the Back to the Future trilogy. I don't know if you thought this would be higher, but this is about as high as I could maybe go with it. Back to the Future is arguably my favorite movie of all time. and it technically gets lesser so with each one, but this is still telling a really great cohesive story that flows very well. It's so much fun. Marty McFly is an incredible character. Doc is one of my favorite characters of all time. Again, just another great story of adventure. I love the way that it works, where the first film it's the past, the second film is like the future, and then again the third film is a bit of a wild card out in the Wild
Yeah.
West. But I love that it's like the same cast playing different generations of themselves. I just think it's one of the most iconic trilogies of all time that deserves to be up there. I mean, it should be untouched in my opinion. Like it should just exist as the Back to the Future trilogy and no more. In third place is the original Star Wars trilogy. This is obviously one of the greatest trilogies of all time. You know, its impact on culture is everlasting. I mean, I'm wearing the shirt. We talk about Maul Shadow Lord. We talk about, I'm sure the prequel trilogy will be somewhere on your list. And none of that exists without this original trilogy. Like this original trilogy set a new standard for science fiction in our culture in a way that will never be repeated again. And so it deserves to be recognized as one of the all-time greats. In second place, maybe a surprise, is the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Wow, I have no idea what you're gonna put for number one then.
So here's the thing about Lord of the Rings. You could you could and probably should argue that this is the greatest trilogy ever made, from its writing to its filmmaking to its character building to the way it explores the lore of the world. It's a story of friendship, of wonder, of opportunity, of adventure. I love the way it's filmed. It finds room for intimate moments, and it also finds room for cinematic battles. It just has everything you want out of a fantasy adventure. Lord of the Rings as a trilogy is one of the greatest stories ever put to screen. And each film I think is remarkable. Obviously, I think Return of the King is one of the greatest films of all time. Again, if you ask me this on a different day, maybe I am just going to say Lord of the Rings. But as incredible of a trilogy as Lord of the Rings is, I was sitting and I said, you know what is just one of the best things that's ever been done? And that is my number one, the Before trilogy. Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and Before Midnight, with Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy, directed by Richard Linklater. What makes this, in my opinion, the greatest trilogy specifically of all time is that it follows two individuals who meet, who share a connection that kind of sparks into love. And in the first film, it's just this one night and they wonder, will we ever see each other again? Then you have Sunset and it's like, okay, like we want to be together. And then you have Midnight, where it's, the realities that they face in their life, that maybe the dreaminess that came in the first one is not necessarily the life that they ended up having. And it's films years apart. I think it's like 13 years apart each time, or 7, maybe it's not that much. I think it's like 7 years apart each time. Regardless of the fact, we see these people at different stages of life, and it is the most realistic feeling trilogy that has ever been written, ever been filmed. I mean, just each time it's a story of love from a different perspective. Young and dreamlike, this middle kind of like finding a way to be together. And then this later in life, just, is this what we ever expected it to be? And I think it's something that, of all these trilogies, of all these stories that I've mentioned that have been told, they're all remarkable. They all have something true to say at their thematic core. But the Before trilogy does so in a way that is more relatable to everyone else, I should say, than any of the others. It is at its core about love and life. And as a trilogy, it works better than I think than any other trilogy.
That's a great list. I am shocked, but that's a great list. I can't
I
believe
mean,
there's some that you didn't say that I thought you would have.
Lord of the Rings is right there. Like, don't
Yeah,
get me wrong. It is right there. It's like instead of 1 and 2, Jack, it's more like 1A and 1B.
yeah. Okay, so like any given day, it could kind of switch for you.
It really could switch at any given day. That's why I said, when I said Lord of the Rings 2, like, if you ask me on a different day, this is probably number one. It probably should be number one. I just absolutely love the Before movies. I absolutely love those movies. I mean, they are so enticing and sad and thrilling and emotional, and you know what they are? reflective. Like they make me feel reflective about my own life more than any movie maybe ever. So
All right, that's good. All right, I never seen them, so maybe I'll get on it.
you should watch them. You should watch them.
All right, here's my list again. No to Lord of the Rings, so keep your comments to yourselves. My favorite
Blast 'em.
trilogies of all time, best trilogies of all time. Honorable mentions: I have the Star Wars prequels, so they didn't make my top 10. I have How to Train Your Dragon, Men in Black, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Shrek. All right, here we go. Top 10 trilogies of all time. 10th place, surprised you didn't say it, I have The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight trilogy is great. I don't love Batman Begins. The Dark Knight is perfect, and The Dark Knight Returns is really good. I don't love Batman Begins. I've probably seen it once in my life. I think it's okay, but the other two are great. In 9th place, I have Kung Fu Panda. Spectacular series. The first one is incredible. The second one is literally a masterpiece. And the third one is just fun family movie. It does start to fall off, the third one. The fourth one, don't even get me started, not part of this trilogy. But I love the second one. I mean, something about these movies is the villains are just peak. The villains are so good. Tai Lung, Shen, Kai, they are amazing. In 8th place, I have Back to the Future, your favorite movie of all time. The first two, again, I love. I don't really have a connection to really the second one, but the first one is like an all-time classic. The second one's still really good. And the third one for me is Take It or Leave It. It's a fun time, but I don't really ever have an urge to watch it, In 7th place, Captain America. Dude, the first Captain America, the first Avenger is a great introduction to this character. And Winter Soldier and Civil War are all, arguably top 5 Marvel movies, MCU movies. Winter Soldier is definitely up there, and Civil War is great. People say it's, Avengers 2.5 or whatever it is. Doesn't matter. It's still a Captain America movie. I love it. I love the Captain America series. I think it's great. No misses. 6th place, Toy Story, okay? The greatest animated trilogy of all time will eventually probably get topped when Spider-Verse is over. But as of now, Toy Story 1, 2, and 3, no misses again. Toy Story 2 is my third favorite Pixar movie of all time. Toy Story 3 is probably top 5 also. And Toy Story 1 is a great, great introduction to this whole Pixar franchise.
Just a classic.
The characters are so lovable. They're so classic. There is just some beauty to these movies. I absolutely love it. In 5th place, you might be surprised by this, but I have Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, only in 5th place. Spider-Man 2 is my favorite superhero movie of all time. It is my third favorite movie of all time. No, it's my second favorite movie of all time. Spider-Man 2 is literally a fucking masterpiece. There's nothing wrong with it. Spider-Man 1, the original, the one that started it all, is great. You get Willem Dafoe as one of the most iconic characters of all time, the best acted comic book characters of all time. And then Spider-Man 3, as much of a mess as it is, it's still a fun movie. It's still got the memes that we've gotten from it, the stupid moments. It's still fun. I still have a good time watching it. So I love the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. In 4th place, Pirates of the Caribbean. Pirates of the Caribbean is amazing. You had it on your honorable mentions. Like I said, we got a lot of repeats. The first one is incredible. The second one, again, top 10 movies of all time for me. And the third one is really great. Now we're getting to movies where there's like not a single miss. Like they're all just peak. And that's absolutely one of the franchises that is all peak, except for the 4th and the 5th, but we're not counting that. Number 3, Planet of the Apes. You shouted it out. I'm shouting it out. I think this is a franchise that's not talked about enough. The modern Planet of the Apes iteration, I think people, they don't talk about it. It's incredible. The first one's really good. The second and third one are some of the greatest movies of all time. The second one, again, it's always the second one, is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's top 10. I fucking love Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I think Koba is a great villain. I think Andy Serkis should have been nominated for an Oscar for his role as Caesar. He is so incredible in those movies, especially the third one. He is so spectacular. They definitely deserve the recognition. Number 2, Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones, we grew up watching Indiana Jones, even though they were before our time. It's like the original trilogy, you grew up watching it because there's such a love for it. And Back to the Future, you grow up watching it. There's such a love and admiration for these movies that even someone born 20, 30 years later, you grow up watching it because they are incredible. And like you said, the second one is a little weaker than the first and the third, but I mean, one of not just the most iconic movies, but iconic characters. And that is also a huge play in this trilogy is that this character has become so iconic. It's so well acted, and the performances are not only great and iconic, but it's so fun, and the adventure is incredible. In the third movie, his relationship with his father, Sean Connery, the legend himself, it is so fucking spectacular. I absolutely love these movies. And number one, probably to nobody's surprise, my favorite trilogy of all time is Star Wars, the original trilogy. I do have that hot take with A New Hope being not as good as Force Awakens, but New Hope is still my fifth favorite Star Wars movie. Empire, Return of the Jedi. I love Return of the Jedi more than most people, actually. I think Return of the Jedi is almost a perfect movie. I think Empire is a perfect movie, and I think A New Hope is a great, fun movie. It's just not as good as the others, but still, there's so little wrong with this franchise. That what they were able to do in the 70s and 80s with this franchise is spectacular, and to make it grow into this huge thing that we have today, the original trilogy for Star Wars is fucking insane, and I love it. And I think you and I have some great lists today because there's a lot of repeats, which shows how much we love these trilogies, man.
I agree. I do think the Dark Knight trilogy should be an honorable mention on mine. You know,
Yeah, I
you're
was
right.
surprised you didn't mention that.
That probably it wouldn't be a top 10, but it probably should have been an honorable mention.
I got you.
I'm also surprised about Spider-Man being as low as it is, but to be honest, I guess Spider-Man 3 is I guess bad enough to kind of like kick it down a couple notches
Like,
compared to some of these others.
Spider-Man cracked the top 5, but the top 4 have no misses. Like,
yeah,
you know, Temple of Doom isn't great, but it's still a good movie.
but it's a great. I mean, it's not like Raiders or Last Crusade, but it's still, I think, a great movie.
Yeah, exactly. Like the top 4 have no misses, in my opinion.
Love Short Round. You know what I mean?
Love Short Round. But you know what's interesting? I do think that after this year, your list is going to be different because we have Spider-Verse finishing and we have Dune finishing.
I was just gonna say I think so. The bottom 2 on my top 10, How to Train Your Dragon and Planet of the Apes, will probably get knocked off.
You got to rewatch Planet of the Apes after those because
they're probably gonna.
It's my top 3, dude.
Here's the thing though, I love the Planet of the Apes trilogy. It is phenomenal. But when I look at, I'm gonna say here are the ones above it that I have that weren't on your list, which is Godfather, The Dollars, Lord of the Rings, and Before.
I've never seen any of those except Lord of the Rings, and I don't like Lord of the Rings. So
right.
There you go.
So of those 4 trilogies that I have above Planet of the Apes that weren't on your list, and I could say, well, Star Wars, I think you would agree, obviously, is above.
Yeah.
Toy Story, maybe you don't agree, but it's understandable, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're right there. It's 6 and 3 for me. So.
Right. And Indiana Jones I have above it. Which,
I do too.
You know. So then it comes down to the 4 that I have never seen, or that you've never seen, excuse me, Before, Lord of the Rings, Dollars trilogy, and Godfather. As much as I love Planet of the Apes, I think that the movies in those 4 trilogies first of all, they all have one movie that is way more significant to me, and both to me personally, but also in my opinion to just culture, like The Godfather, or
you're right,
or The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, or
Dawn is the best of that franchise, but it doesn't come close to Godfather Part 2.
Don't get me wrong, Dawn is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But you're right, it's not The Godfather, it's not The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. It's not
I can admit that.
It's not Before Sunrise. And while you don't agree, it's not Before Return of the King. So like, to me, those films that kind of signify what makes these trilogies so remarkable and timeless are above what makes Planet of the Apes such a great trilogy, as great as it is. So you're right, when Spider-Verse finishes and when Dune finishes, I will imagine those 2 will be in my top 10 trilogies of all time. And so as much as I love, I mean, How to Train Your Dragon is 10th, there's a little bit more separation there, but as much as I love Planet of the Apes, I think Dune is the best sci-fi trilogy maybe since the original Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah.
And I think if they can, and I will think that if they can cap it off with the 3rd, which I am confident they will, and Spider-Verse, I think will settle in at number 5, to be honest. because I think it'll be above Toy Story, but I don't know, as much as it's incredible, I don't know if I mean, again, there is a personal connection to Back to the Future, and then there's Star Wars, Lord of the Rings before trilogy. Like, those to me are like a league of their own. So, I can see Spider-Verse, but still settling in top 5 all time.
Yeah, I think if
So,
I'm predicting early, I'd also have Spider-Verse at number 5, right above Toy Story.
yeah,
But you
I
never know.
agree. And you never know. You have to see how they finish it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So those are our trilogy lists. They're all remarkable trilogies. There are also some other ones that we didn't mention that are great too. But there is something about the trilogy, setup of films that I think is just very, just such a very great vehicle for storytelling.
Yeah, I
It
love
gives
it.
you more space than the one film. It allows characters to grow. It allows worlds to be built. And I think it takes the viewers on an adventure that is something they remember way more than just any one movie.
Love a good trilogy. All right. We're finishing up this episode with some Seesaw, like usual.
You went, or I went first for
You went
the
first.
trilogy, so you go first.
So I'll start, capping us off. I'll start topping you off real quick. I saw the new Netflix movie Apex with Taron Egerton and Charlize Theron. It was okay. Taron Egerton is they're both great in the movie. Like, they're both great actors. And you could tell, like, they're putting their all into this movie. But it's just kind of like boring. Like, it's fine, it's interesting. So she's basically getting hunted by him. It's like Most Dangerous Game. Like, she's getting hunted by him in the Australian wilderness. But I don't know. I feel like you could have done more with it. I didn't love the movie, but I do think that they are putting on like really great performances. And it's a quick watch, it's like an hour and a half. I would recommend watching it. Apex, it's just an interesting premise. It's just not great. It is what it is. It's a Netflix original, Netflix original, like, action thriller movie. So it is what it is. And something I want to see real bad. I want to see it real bad. We actually didn't really talk much about it, but we got the full trailer for Clayface recently. And I want to see Clayface so bad, bro. I'm not a horror guy, but doing a super villain horror movie, especially with Clayface, who's always been one of my favorite Batman villains, and a very kind of shelved one, always kind of pushed to the side. I'm very excited for this movie, and the trailer at the end when he wipes his face and it's just gone is horrific, and I cannot wait to see what kind of crazy shit they do with that movie and that character.
I completely agree. You know what is really interesting is we talked about this. I think it's really cool that the DCU is trying to showcase different genres within it. Like, it's one shared
Mix it
universe,
up.
but it's you're telling stories through different methods of storytelling, through different genres. And body horror has been really incredible lately, like The Substance and Together. There's been some really cool body horror films. So I'm very excited to see a DC body horror film. Sign me the fuck up, dude. Written by Mike Flanagan, one of my favorite filmmakers.
Right, because, like, why is Guardians of the Galaxy, a fun space adventure, the same themes and the same genre as Captain America? It's like a guy in the 40s fighting Nazis, Like, shouldn't be the same, but it is. And I think DC's taking advantage of, you have different characters, you have different arcs, you have different themes you can explore, and they're doing that, which is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Such a wide array of options.
Absolutely. And I think because it's not like a one size fit all. I think that's sometimes what people complain about the MCU a little bit. It's like, is a Thor movie, should it really be as like cheery, or like as like should have the same vibe as a Guardians movie? You know what I mean? Things like that.
Yeah.
So, like, I think it's not a one size fit all. Just because it's a shared universe doesn't mean that there aren't different lenses for filmmakers to approach it.
Right. I think Marvel's like kind of getting into that with adding Deadpool and actually making a Deadpool movie. Like, they're getting into the rated R stuff, but DC's been on that with Peacemaker and Creature Commandos, like some great stuff, man.
I agree. So something I'm gonna go I'll start with something I want to see, because it's related, I guess, similar to Clayface, and that's the May horror releases. So for whatever reason, this month of May, we're actually getting a decent amount of horror films.
Okay.
Hokum, the one that's already out, starring Adam Scott, it's got great reviews. It looks really good. The next one, I have 3 that I really pointed out. The other one, the next one is Obsession, which is like about like this guy who it's kind of like the episode of Timmy Turner of Fairly Odd Parents when Timmy Turner
Yeah,
like
but
wished
Trixie.
for Trixie to like be in love with him.
Yeah.
It's got a 4.0 in Letterboxd, and the marketing for this movie is top notch. They sent discussing film like a made dinner thing or a deep whatever it was. And you also can like text the character in the movie, Nikki, and she'll like send you like it's like audio recordings. It like puts the contact in your phone, and it's like these
Oh.
audio recordings.
You know, it's kind of like it's directed by Curry Barker, who is he started off with like YouTube skits and stuff and sketches, and it's very Jordan Peele kind of origins. It seems like, started off
Yeah.
as like comedy sketches and is now doing horror movies that are apparently great.
And what's her face is in it. Inde Navarrete, who was in the show Superman and Lois. That's where people know her from, and
Oh,
she
okay.
has had some clips go online already that it looks like it could be one of the best performances of the year. Like
Wow.
she truly looks
Wow.
like she might be doing that. And the other one is Backrooms, which we talked about the trailer that comes out at
Yeah,
the end
yeah,
of the
yeah.
month. With Hiwedel Ejiofor and Renata Reinsve. And that's directed by the 20-year-old Kane Parsons. And that looks really, really good too. Obviously, we talk about the back rooms, kind of this internet lore, and it just looks like a really good horror movie. So I'm excited for how much I love horror. I'm excited for these movies coming out this month.
It's cool. Two of those are directorial debuts from really young directors.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm of the opinion, Jack, that horror is the genre with the most room to give. And what I mean by that is you can get away with the most stuff as a filmmaker. Like you can really bend around and do some interesting methods of storytelling via horror that you might not necessarily get in other genres. That's not to say science fiction, drama, action, whatever. Of course you
Yeah,
can. But in my opinion, I think there is the most diversity of that in horror.
it's fair.
So I am very excited for that. And then something that I saw recently, this is going to get I'm going to do another classics corner on our TikTok for it, but it's the film Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, starring Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton. This is a remarkable film that was adapted from the original play Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. It's basically about a history professor, so like you, and
Right.
his wife. They invite over a young couple late at night, and they're like new to the area university, and as they continue to get drunker and drunker throughout the night, there is like full force of dysfunction that is showcased between the marriages, and it's like this really, it kind of reminds me of what the new season of Beef is going for a little bit.
Mm.
um it is very theatrical at heart, which makes sense given that it is adapted from a stage play. It is immersive, it is depressing, it is volatile, it is thrilling, it's even kind of funny at times. It's a story that really showcases the harsh realities of marriage, and a life that is disappointedly lived. People who kind of had dreams that they never lived up to. And just the way that manifests onto one another. Someone that you spend so much time with. Again, I'll go into way more detail in my next edition of the Classics Corner. But it really kind of divulges the profound failures that people can have in the personal and professional parts of their lives. And it begs, the question of like, what is more destructive behavior? Playing disillusioned games to mask the shortcomings in your life, or facing the reality that you have lived long enough to realize you will never live the life that you want or be the person that you wanted to be. And so it really is just this showcase of incredible acting. It was hold on, I have it written down here. It is one of only 3 films all time to be nominated in every eligible category at the Oscars.
God damn.
It was the other 2 being Cimarron and Sinners, actually. So whoever said Sinners can't be top 4, fuck you. It all four of these actors were nominated, and Elizabeth Taylor and Sandy Dennis, the two women, they won. I think Richard Burton should have won as well. It is an incredible performance. Just all around, like, one of my favorite films I've seen in a long time. Truly, it is not action packed. It's obviously all dialogue, but if you're listening, it really is a lot of exposing of reality, and I am enamored by the film.
Cool, man. Well, I'll be looking out for your review on the TikTok.
I have decided that will be the next Classics Corner film. I'll go way more in depth, like I did with 12 Angry Men, than I am here. This is already very in depth for a Seesaw, but
Yeah.
I just can't get enough of it, as you can tell. So,
Yeah.
that will be coming out soon.
Wow. Well, thank you everybody for watching, and yeah, make sure you go follow us on all our socials at Box Office Dynasty, especially our TikTok. It's growing. It's doing pretty well right now. Josh and I each have our own series that are being pushed out on there. We're actually posting actual TikTok content, not just clips, but of course you can see our best clips from the actual episode. So if you somehow made it to the end of this episode and you want to see more clips, definitely check out our TikTok at Box Office Dynasty. And we got, this was a great episode, man. I'm talking a lot of Star Wars, talking a lot of good shit.
Yeah, happy May the 4th to everybody. Celebrate Star Wars Day by watching, apparently, Phantom Menace, I guess. I don't know.
Apparently everyone already did. So
yeah. It's time for Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones is next.
You could probably skip that one.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, man, share with your fellow friends and film lovers. You know, we appreciate all the support that we get and continue to get, and we look forward to the next episode. We will be reviewing our Bible study film in the next episode, The Last Emperor. So please comment more Bible study films for us, numbers, and we might watch yours. Next week will be The Last Emperor, so looking forward to that.
Last Emperor, and a little preview, probably Daredevil Born Again Season 2, and maybe Beef Season 2. So if you're interested in any of that, definitely check out next episode next week. And
got some catching up to do, but yep.
Yeah, a little bit. It's a little bit. Dude, but the finale of Daredevil's tonight.
Yeah, I know. I have. Well, how many episodes was that? 8, 9?
8, yeah, 8.
I only have a couple more that I need to watch.
Yeah.
I think I watched. I've just watched 5 like last week. So
we'll review that next week hopefully, and yeah, be on the lookout for all our episodes and all our posts and everything. And we love you guys.
Love you guys. Feel better, Jack.
Oh, thanks, man. You too. Get your eyes checked.
I already did.